Sports Talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
You know what? It fits in line with your like of sports.
And Chris Ello.
Kind of rooting for you in the Fantabulous Sports Game Show until a moment ago. Now I hope you get your butt wiped again.
Oh, whoa. That means something else.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
It's not Gwynn and Chris. It's day 2 of Sammy and Skraby here. 97.3 The Fan. Chris Ello back on Friday. Tony Gwynn Jr. at Camelback Ranch calling the game between the White Sox and the Padres. And Sammy Lev sitting with us here now. Thank you, Sam, for making it home on time. I know you got a lot going on. A lot going on.
You want to talk getting here just in time for this show. I'll tell you what happened. So I actually left the complex at 12:30.
Okay.
Got lunch with well, it would have actually been 11:30 local time in 11:30.
So when you're talking in times, it's an hour ahead. Okay.
I'm going to talk in local time. So
Okay.
12:30 here in Arizona. Got lunch with Ben and Woods, which
Ooh.
was great. Ben Woods and Paul. And then I had to do my hit with Annie and Elston at 2 p.m. local time here, 1 p.m. in San Diego. So I wasn't back here yet, so I couldn't do it over the equipment and my laptop. So I had to do a phoner, called in. And then so that was fine. I was near the complex still, had a good 40 minutes to get back here. I would say it's about an 18-minute drive from Peoria Sports Complex back to my Airbnb. But
18, huh? That's very, very specific.
Yeah, I would say about 18. The critical mistake I made, which made this quite the scenario, I decided I needed a little afternoon pick-me-up.
Of course.
So I decided to go to Dutch Bros. And typically Dutch Bros, even though the line can be long, moves pretty quickly. They're one of these places, they got that drive-through line, they got it down. But I'll tell you, today, it was not moving.
Uh-oh.
I probably got in the Dutch Bros line at 2:20. I was not out by, I would say, at least 2:40.
Woo!
2:38, 39. And by the way,
Woo!
I'm sitting there. That's when I texted you and said, hey, I may be late. But here's the thing. Once I got on the line, there's nowhere to go.
No way out.
I couldn't go anywhere.
You're
so
stuck.
I've accepted my fate. I could tell that it was going to be longer than what I anticipated. Because, look, I thought to myself, hey, if I get back to the Airbnb 10 minutes before we go on air, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But I saw it was going to be a problem. I got back. I debated because there was a moment when it was really not moving where I was like, I'm going to be late. And I debated just saying, oh, Skraby, traffic, it's 3 o'clock.
Well,
Phoenix,
I'm really happy
traffic.
you didn't.
But because I made it, I'll tell you the
didn't.
truth, in that it was me getting one of these energy drinks with the soft top foam on it. But I did make it in time.
Foam.
So I made it in time. So
thank you. Thank you for making making a big effort to get here, because people wouldn't like me just talking about Roki Sasaki, getting bombs hit off of him all the time. Nick Pivetta, Fernando took him deep today. We'll talk about that.
He did. Now, I want to tell everybody, Fernando hit a very long home run against Nick Pivetta, but Nick Pivetta also struck him out twice before that, which
no one's
only
seeing.
Posted one of those strikeouts. So, well, let's be honest about it. The home run is far more exciting of a post,
of course,
than the strikeouts. So, unfortunately for Nick Pivetta, that's what gets the play. But it always frustrates me and makes me a little self-conscious when it comes to live BP, because when you have an intra-squad matchup, you're always doing something. You're posting something that makes one guy look good and one guy, I don't want to say look bad because it's live BP on February 26th.
And it's Fernando.
Okay. Yeah. I like, let's relax. It's
I get
live
it though.
BP.
I do.
All the way around from the Pivetta perspective, from the Tatis perspective, not just them, but like the pitcher and hitter perspective, it's live BP. But I'm always like, it's like, but now this is Nick Pivetta giving up a home run, but it's Fernando hitting the home run. I got to post it.
Yeah.
So it really creates a conflict inside of me for sure. But it's one of those imperfect things that's got to get done.
Well, it's good to know, though, that he did strike out Fernando a couple times before that. So it's not like he gets to the Padres and he's serving up meatballs on February 26th. He's facing a good hitter. Now, Fernando's just coming. Is this his first day in camp so far?
No, it's not his first day in camp.
I thought he had
the
some
flu.
days early. Yeah.
Well, he was here, and then the flu's been going around, and a number of guys have not been feeling great, and this is over the last couple of weeks. So he was dealing with the flu and was out for, I don't know how many days he's missed, but it's been a handful at this point. It's certainly been more than 2 or 3 at this point. So I don't want to say a number because I'm not totally sure, but was dealing with the flu, and today was the first day he was back out there working out, throwing, fielding, taking BP. So we'll see when he gets into a game. I'm sure they want to get him a handful of live at-bats before he gets in a Cactus League game, get him moving again, get his strength up. And again, there's just no rush. I mean, it's February 26th. He's got plenty of time to ramp up for the season. So I guess I would be a little surprised because today was day 1 of him being back out there. I'd be surprised if he plays tomorrow. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not playing tomorrow because they're playing in Mesa.
Okay,
so
that's far.
He's not going out to Mesa tomorrow. But I would say, assuming he works out again tomorrow, I would say at some point over the weekend, if not Friday. I don't know any of this for sure, but that would sound pretty plausible that he would be back Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere in there.
Let's hope for Friday because 97.3 The Fan is going to be carrying that Friday spring training game right here on the airwaves. Game, yeah. It's a night game. I believe it starts at 5:30 that night, so we will be carrying that. Let me set up the show real quick.
5:30
Pacific time.
Yeah, that would make
because I think it actually is 5:40 Pacific time.
Oh no, Skraby show on Friday, huh?
No, but I'm actually going and I'm emceeing a Little League welcoming parade type of thing.
Wow.
So I guess Paul Reindl has done this in the past, but because he's out there with the guys, he couldn't do it. And so they asked me, and I'm getting progressively more nervous as we get closer to it, but we'll figure that one out. Let me set up the show real quick, and then we'll get back to some conversation. We're going to actually, Ben and Woods are out in Peoria, as Sam said he had lunch with them. So we're going to hear from Ben and Woods with the pitching whisperer, Ruben Niebla at 2:40. I think that's important to hear. He doesn't get to do many interviews, and so it's good to hear from Ruben Niebla. We're also going to I said we would do sports court. I'm not quite sure if we're going to do sports court. So we're gonna see what happens with that. We're gonna have Sean Paul, Field of 68, on at 3:40 to talk about the college basketball stuff. Also, 5:40, we're gonna hear from Ben and Woods with Luis Arraez, and then Tony Gwynn Jr. will be joining us as soon as he can. So Sammy Lev is here with me until then. Bradley Rodriguez, Sam. What do we know about Bradley Rodriguez? Because I was looking into some of his stuff. I saw some tweets about him. So I wanted to, check in, but he's got 2 outings so far, 2 innings in those outings, no hits, 3 Ks. I'm not saying is he going to be the next big thing for the bullpen, but is this someone we may want to pay attention to?
Well, I think it's for sure somebody you want to pay attention to. I mean, I heard his name last spring, and I knew they were very high on him last spring, but the difference between last spring and this spring is that now he's got a full year of minor league baseball under his belt. Went to 3 levels last year, finished the year at AA San Antonio, and the numbers across the board were good. I mean, he had a 2.64 ERA in 45 appearances, struck out 75 in 61 plus innings. So the strikeout number is very high. He's only 21. He won't be 22 until November. So he's going to be 21 throughout this season. Electric stuff. And I think somebody they're very, very high on as a back end of the bullpen, high leverage type arm. So, I talked about this a little bit earlier on Annie and Elston. It appears to me that Bradley Rodriguez, Francis Pena, Henry Baez. You know, those may be the next wave of young guys. I would assume Rodriguez, Baez, Pena. I would assume at some point, and there are other names you can throw in there as well. Omar Cruz. I would assume at some point they'll get sent back to minor league camp. But for now, it's pretty fun to watch these guys, and I think Bradley Rodriguez is certainly a name to watch. And I'll tell you what, considering he finished the year at AA in 2024 and did well, I mean, there's no doubt that it would be plausible he could be in the big leagues at some point this year. I mean, once you're at AA, and especially if you're a back-end reliever and you're getting people out and you've got swing and miss stuff, typically you may not be far away as a reliever. So would not surprise me if he would make his way to the major leagues at some point this season. I said this on Andy and Elston a little bit earlier. I've got to talk to him. I haven't talked to him yet this spring training. I've got to talk to him, get a little bit more info on him and how they really feel about him. But just based on what I've seen, what I know, some of the things I've heard, looking at the numbers from last year, I think there's a non-zero chance that he could find his way to the major leagues this season. I really mean that because he's already been at AA at 21.
I mean, he looks the part.
Sorry, 20.
Yeah,
he was 20 at AA last year.
He looks the part when you see him out there. He looks like a guy who's not overmatched. I know it's spring training, but still, I mean, for a young guy, it's pretty impressive. Today's game, Forrest Wall just went deep in the last half of the first half of the 8th inning. So they are up 2-1 now. Forrest Wall.
They're already in the 8th inning
on the board. Yes, it's been a 2-hour game at this point.
Wow.
Some of these games are actually going pretty quick when mostly spring training games are around 3 hours.
I got to pull up the box score. I'm going to be totally honest with you and the listening audience out there. I have not paid attention to what's been going on.
Don't worry.
Because I was eating lunch and then I was.
Don't worry. There's not much. There's not much.
You know, I left early. I mean, it is what it is.
Ryan Berger started today, Sam. He went.
How'd he do?
He went 2 innings, gave up nothing, struck out 2.
Oh, another good outing for Ryan.
Jason Adam makes an appearance. An inning, gave up nothing. Wandy Peralta, he gave up a hit, but he walked a guy, but he struck out a guy. Alec Jacob is the guy, I think. I don't know why I'm so high on Alec Jacob, but he went an inning and he struck out 2.
I'm also very high on Alec Jacob. I actually talked to Alec Jacob today, which we've not posted or played anywhere. So for the moment, it's just a conversation.
Hold that thought.
On my
Hold
telephone.
that thought.
Yes.
We're going to go to break.
Talk more about Alec Jacob.
On the other side, we'll talk more about Alec Jacob. Sammy and Skraby here with you until 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan. Things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Skraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. 4th hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
these things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Skraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Skraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. Keep in mind, we're still giving away the biggest fan prize here on the station, or at least qualifications for the prize at 5:30. Between 5:30 and 5:35, we will announce our biggest fan for today. So don't worry about that. Also, I am going to make myself remember to qualify someone for the grand prize, 4 tickets to the Padres Guardians game at Petco Park on April 2nd. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. But what you will win is a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game at the Peoria Sports Complex. So you will get qualified for the grand prize. You will win those tickets. That will happen at some point throughout the show. We're going to talk about stuff like this a little bit later. But Sam, you probably haven't seen this because it's not huge news, but the NFL is looking to do some sort of electronic measurement for first downs now.
Ooh.
But it's not like what we think it is. I don't see much news on it yet. It's not like there's a chip in the ball and it tells you whether or not it goes over. It's just an electronic thing so that the guys don't have to run on the field. That's what I'm reading it as. Is like, it's just like, to make sure that it is a first down without having to take the time for those guys to come all the way out on the field and measure it.
Oh, so it wouldn't be electronic to the point where
it won't tell you if they made the line to gain.
Right, but it's still a manual spot.
Yes, it's still which doesn't make
it's still
any
a manual
sense.
Spot, but it would take the place of the chain game.
The chain game is, from the early reports, is still going to be a part of the game, but they're going to use the electronic spotting. They're a backup in case the electronic spotting goes down.
So they are. So the ball will be electronically spotted.
You're right. I made that confusing. The electronic measurement is what will take place on the field, and then the chain gain is the backup. It's just to see if they made the 10 yards. It's not, hey, Josh Allen got to this yard to gain, which is kind of what people are. That's what people are asking for, is for where the ball is on the field, because the referees are still going to spot the ball. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Right.
It's kind of weird. But
I would wonder, even if there was a chip in the ball, I still, how would they even do that? Like, would the referee, would something light up on the turf? I don't. How would they know where to spot the ball?
I think they would have the eye in the sky tell them into their ear. The referee in the booth. I think the referee in the booth is actually going to take a little bit more responsibility this coming year.
Yeah.
It is weird. It is weird.
The spotting has always been very interesting to me. It seems like a very, very inexact science.
It's extremely inexact.
Well, put it this way: you often have a referee running while the play is finishing, basically making up kind of where they think the play ended when they're not looking at it directly from the sideline to see where exactly the ball was, and they just spot it. It is really weird. I mean, it's really in American sports one of the more kind of like weird, inexact science things that we've just accepted for a long time.
Yeah, like I've always thought about punts that go out of bounds because you're supposed to spot the ball where the ball goes. How would they, you know? They're all the way down at the goal line. If the ball goes out at the 40, how do they really know it went out at the 40?
And if the ball is 40 yards up in the air, how could you possibly know where exactly it went out of bounds in the air up there? It is silly.
It is. I love it when the punt does go out of bounds and they run and then they keep running and you're like, when are they going to stop? And then finally they stop. But it is super strange. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Before break, we were talking about Alec Jacob. He is a reliever for the Padres, and he had an outing today in spring training. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, no hits. So you said you talked to him earlier today.
I did. It'll be on my to-do list tonight or tomorrow to get some of that interview out. We talked about his pitch mix, his sinker, his four-seam fastball, his changeup, his sweeper, which he gets a lot of swing and miss on. Got to go back and listen to some of it to give you a better report of exactly what he said about those things. You know, it's one of those things sometimes, and when it's loud in the clubhouse, one of those things where sometimes you have to go back and listen to your own interview to fully digest.
Yes.
Not that you're not. I really try these days to listen and then react with other questions. But sometimes inside the clubhouse, especially, it was kind of loud, like in our corner there. I've got to, maybe I'll do it during a break. I've got to re-listen to it again one more time. But with that said, I think Alec's been really, really impressive. Now, today was his first Cactus League appearance, but I could tell you in live BPs, in simulated games, man, he gets a lot of swing and miss. And he's got that funky delivery and arm slot, and he's a change of pace, and I think he's deceptive, and I think he's got 2 really good off-speed pitches in the changeup and the sweeper. Look, if Sean Reynolds isn't ready on opening day, if Brian Hoeing, let's say, isn't ready on opening day, and we're a ways away, we're a month away still from camp being over, but if there are more spots available on the opening day roster than initially anticipated due to injury, and we'll see what else happens over the course of the next 4 weeks or so, I would, to be honest, I'd be kind of shocked if Alec Jacob wasn't part of this bullpen. Now, if Hoeing gets healthy, if Reynolds gets healthy, is there a scenario where Hoeing and Reynolds are in the bullpen? Yes. Is there a scenario where Hoeing and Ron Marinaccio are in the bullpen? Yes. So look, when it comes down to one spot, potentially could be a number of guys, but if there are multiple open spots, I would think Alec Jacob would have a real good shot of making the team. And that's based on what he's done in the past. And I think how good he looks this spring and his deception, and he's a bit of a different look early in a season. So we'll see. But very impressive so far and very good today.
Yeah, quick update on the game between the Padres and the White Sox. Padres go up 3-1 here, and now it's going to the bottom of the ninth.
What did he do?
Tirso Ornelas, he doubled to lead off the inning, and then he actually got home due to a throwing error by the catcher. So he doubled.
Right. Well, Tirso had a home run the other day.
He did, and he doubled today. So I love this whole left field competition, because these guys are so far like rising to the occasion and actually making it a competition.
For sure. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I think it's been one of the fun early parts of camp is that the guys who are competing for spots are performing really well, whether it's Tirso, whether it's Eggy Rosario, who's had an excellent start to spring, whether it's been guys like Gavin Sheets, who had a very nice first game, hasn't, been quite as good since then. Mike Brasso has had moments.
Oscar
Gonzalez has been very good. So, yeah, look, it's what it's about. If you're going to have competition, you want guys to play well and make it hard for the coaching staff. So we're a long ways away, but you're right. They've done nicely so far in a camp with a couple of open spots.
DeVries is actually really turning people's heads now because of some of the at-bats he's put together in these games. He's put together some really, really nice at-bats for a guy who hasn't seen much major league pitching.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about DeVries for somebody who's only 18, and we saw this in Lake Elsinore last year, is that he's very, very selective. His eye at the plate is very, very advanced for an 18-year-old. And we saw this in the minors last year. We really did. And he's got the ability to drive the baseball and hit for power and play good defense, and obviously has speed as well. So I think what stood out to people, not just the double he hit, into the outfield yesterday, but his selectivity at the plate, I think, is very, very advanced. And one other good thing in that same breath is Ethan Salas. It hasn't just been the fact that he had to double off the wall the other day. I think noticeably the quality of his at bats have been really impressive. I think Tony's touched on this if I'm not mistaken, but that you can see that development as far as his selectivity, ability to work at bats. And look, we're talking about a handful of at bats during spring training. I don't want to get too crazy with observations and generalizations from that, but I think you're seeing that from Ethan. So
you're seeing it.
Good to see from both those guys. Yeah, look, again, with both those guys right now it's spring training, go play baseball, have fun. I know Ethan's been around, obviously longer than DeVries, but play baseball, have fun, try to turn some heads and hopefully, we'll see in a little bit in the major leagues ready to go.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these guys get up there. I know that a lot of teams, I've been reading that a lot of teams have seen what's going on in spring training for DeVries, and they contact the Padres. Nothing's going to happen, but AJ Preller spent, I think, all of the international money on DeVries, or at least most of it on DeVries, and so it looks like it's paying off for them. I'm pretty sure it was most of it because he was one of the highly touted players.
Yeah, he got a big signing bonus. I don't recall how much of it or what the exact signing bonus was.
More than I make in a year, Sam. More than I make.
A good chunk of it, yeah.
All right. So that's what's going on with the Padres. On the other side, more than we make combined, to be honest. On the other side, Ben and Woods are out in Peoria. They spoke with a bunch of players and coaches today, and I thought it would be nice to hear from Ruben Niebla, the pitching coach of the Padres, because we don't really get to hear from him that often. So we'll have that interview when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn and Chris on the
We are making our way through spring training. It is going by faster than I thought. I don't know. Sam's out there, so Sam's the one who is actually like living and breathing the spring training. I don't know if it's going fast for you, but you're doing a really, really, really great job, Sam. And he's picking up a cactus. If you'd like to watch us on YouTube, you can just search 97.3 The Fan or go to my X at Matt Skraby, or Facebook as well. You can go to Facebook 97.3 The Fan. I got a question through text. Because someone said one of my friends said they are a huge Dutch Bros coffee person, and they wanted to know your order for Dutch Bros today.
Well,
what took you almost an hour in line to get?
It wasn't an hour in line, but it was 15 to 20 minutes in line. Well, Dutch Bros is very good. It is very caloric. Like you can really go crazy with some of these drinks. So, but they do have a sugar-free option for most of them.
Okay.
But the problem is, like, the really good ones, I mean, they're like 500, 600 calories a pop.
That's meals.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. So what did I get today? Sometimes I do get the coffee drinks. Sometimes I've got more basic stuff like, hey, vanilla latte or iced coffee or whatever it may be. Today I got, they make some sort of energy drink, or I don't know if they use some sort of energy drink called Rebel. I don't know. They call it a Rebel. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into it that deeply. And get different flavors. So this was like a Red Bullish energy drink type thing. And I also got like the soft foam on the top.
You would get the soft foam on the top. I'm the guy who says no, and Sam is the guy who needs to complete his drink with the soft foam at the top.
Yeah, I got to I gotta cut down on the Dutch Bros. I gotta eat a little healthier. In fact, yesterday I went to Trader Joe's, got a lot of groceries, trying to eat a little bit better after the first couple of weeks here. So I got some salads in the fridge. In fact, if we have a minute here, I mean, I could show you what's in the fridge here. If you would like.
Do.
All right, let me get up. Hold on.
Sam is going around. He's going to describe his fridge.
I'll describe it for the radio listeners. We've got water that was already here when I got here. We've got iced coffee. This stuff over here is there. These are eggs, butter. I don't know how old this stuff is, but I'm not going to throw it out. It's not mine. Blueberries, mango, oat milk, creamer. We have 3 pre-made Trader Joe's salads.
Very nice.
We've got oatmeal over there. We've got some cookies, some chips. Oh, down here in the freezer, don't forget that. In the freezer, we've got a bunch of frozen meals from Trader Joe's. So that's what we're working with.
That was great. This was like almost like my version of MTV Cribs, going through Sam Levitt's house, checking out what's in his fridge, all that stuff. I appreciate that, Sam. I'm looking at the Dutch Bros Rebel thing, and I guess it launched in 2012, and it is from a Rebel. I guess it's their own energy drink, so it's not like Red Bull. It says Dutch Bros Rebel energy drink. So there you go. That was really great research.
The other good thing about going to the grocery store while I'm here, and Adam Klug will like this, and it's part of the reason
I know where you're going.
About this there's been a lot of talk about this on Ben and Woods. And I will say, for Adam and Michael, whenever I come out here, I've been an expense darling because I keep it pretty low considering I'm out here for so long. But it does keep the cost down when you buy groceries and you're not eating out every meal. Like, I think I spent, I don't know, where's the receipt? Do I still have the receipt here? I don't know where it is.
Let me guess.
How much did I spend?
$57.
I spent $77 at Trader Joe's.
That's not bad.
But I mean, this is, I would say, between lunches and dinners for 9 dinners and lunches. So when you consider that, and some stuff for breakfast. So when you consider that, I mean, pretty good.
Expense,
pretty good.
Darling right there.
Well, that's averaging what? I mean, $10 or less per meal.
You hear that, bosses?
In total on the bill.
You hear that, bosses?
So, pretty good. It's pretty hard to do when you're eating at restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's another way I keep it down is go the grocery route.
All right, we're gonna get to Ruben Yabel in just 1 second. I have one more question about the Airbnb. Do you find it weird when people leave food and stuff behind? I find that somewhat strange.
That's become a thing. No, that's become a thing. I've been in other Airbnbs for leisure. It's become a thing where people leave stuff behind, and it's supposed to be like in Goodwill. Here, I don't know. There's like eggs in there. I'm just gonna leave them. I don't know. They're not mine. So
well, eggs are super expensive. You might be able
to
You might be able to go outside and sell them on the black market for much more than you could buy them for. So maybe you should do that, Sam.
Yeah, we'll see. So, but they actually, the guy who runs this Airbnb is a great guy. Remember, I'm at the same house, different side of the house that I was last year, so I know him pretty well now. But they did actually leave like little chocolates here when I got here, and they have actually microwavable popcorn.
Dang.
They left Doritos and
Cool Ranch
Cheetos.
Wow.
So I've had some of these that have been left here. They look like they were just left as like nice little gifts, I guess.
I like
hopefully
that.
I was allowed to eat them.
I think it's there for a reason. They're like, we're going to charge you $95 for that packet of Cheetos that you just ate. All right, Ruben Niebla on with Ben and Woods. They had their first day out at spring training this morning. They were talking to a lot of people, but Ruben Niebla, the pitching coach of the Padres, is someone we need to hear from. So here it is.
Get to you. We're fine. Hang on.
Relax.
Slow down.
Slow down a little bit.
I think that, it's important for them to be themselves when they get here. You get a little bit further, and what you want to get done. The plan is there. It's just I want to make sure that he's in the right mindset to be able to execute it.
And again, with 40 pitchers that you're working with, everybody has a different personality. Everybody has different stuff. Everybody has different stuff they want to do.
Right.
Ruben, I want to learn this. Can you teach me this? I mean, how much of is it like drinking from a fire hose sometimes?
It is a little bit, but at the same time, you got to be organized. You got to be organized when you come into these settings, when you know this is going to happen. You got to have a plan. And most importantly, you've got to make sure that the player understands the plan.
Yeah.
When they understand themselves and who they are and what they're capable of doing and where their limitations might be, it's a lot easier to have those conversations.
Yeah, on that note, we've seen a couple of guys who arrived in the organization and they learn a new pitch when they get here, maybe a sweeper. But how does that process work? Do you just go one day, okay, you're going to learn the sweeper? Or do you see like, all right, this guy might have an aptitude for this certain pitch? I mean, adding a pitch is not just like flipping a switch and a light bulb goes on.
Right. No, yeah, there's a little science to it.
Yeah.
Different deliveries, different arm actions, different arm slots create different shapes. And what you want to do, and the way I go about business is, what is their best pitch right now? How do we complement that pitch?
Yeah.
And so once you start identifying their aptitude and their ability, are they supinators? Are they pronators? Do they fly open? Do they stay closed? All this stuff. Once you start identifying that, you kind of have to start making sense of what the guy can probably benefit from.
Well, we've already heard, we've heard a bunch of guys being mentioned already from guys out here, guys that have faced, the Bradley Rodriguez's of the world and some guys that you're probably really excited about. The thing is these days, Ruben, is everybody throws hard. I was watching a video of a kid, I think he was a sophomore in high school the other day, and he's pumping 96.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I remember in high school, if the guy threw 85, you're like, we're dead. We're not hitting this guy tonight. I mean, it is truly amazing how much velo is going on out here. For you, what impresses you the most? I mean, everybody's got a big arm. everybody's got a big
Yeah.
arm out here, but when you're watching a guy, what impresses you the most as a pitching coach?
Be surprised. It's probably the toughest thing to identify is the competitiveness.
Nice.
Like I want a guy that's going to be out there, is going to get punched in the mouth and know what to do with that.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that it's the toughest to probably teach.
Yeah.
And so that's once they come with that competitiveness, that toughness, that grittiness. Once they come with that, it's like, okay, let's start shaping around that. I know that's something that every pitcher wants to do, but
they don't all have it. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And is that something that you feel like you can teach, or is that something that's kind of inborn in them?
Hey, it's tough to teach, but there you can get guys build their confidence, and a lot of times confidence comes with success.
Yeah.
Or does success come
with confidence, right?
And so you
So
got to be able
true.
to know which one it is.
It's the same for hitters. I mean, you go up to the plate thinking you're going to do damage. You're
Right.
more likely to, but yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way.
When AJ brings in new pitchers, I assume he'll consult with you a little bit, but it does feel like some of the newcomers, like Nick Pivetta, Kyle Hart, again, who we met earlier, have a bit of that edge and intensity to them. That seems like maybe that's a deliberate strategy of the organization and AJ to bring more of those guys in.
Right. I think we do a pretty good job identifying those guys. It's going to be tough to have 15 Joe Musgroves running around.
Right.
But I think that overall, we have a core group of guys that are competitors, that are fiery, that want to win. And so that's hopefully that builds the fire around the staff.
So with your bullpen, the way that it's shaping up now, I mean, I think the fan who is not here every day, the fan that just watches, and you can be a hardcore fan. And I look at myself as a hardcore fan, but I would have no idea how to select, hey, man, we might have a couple of spots in the bullpen. This guy throws really hard. We should give him a shot. Sean Reynolds is a great example.
Right.
That guy he is absolutely nasty. I was so bummed to hear he's got the stress reaction in his foot, because I was looking at him this year, and it still may happen, as a guy that, kind of flew on the scene, had a little command issues in the minors, and then got to the big leagues and was dominant.
Right.
So for you, as you're rounding out your bullpen, filling it out, how tempting is it to just get the guy that just throws as hard as he can?
It would be very tempting, but I need guys that throw strikes.
There you go.
And so, I mean, you want to. A bullpen also is built around guys that have different attributes, right? So different slots, different shapes.
Yeah.
They're able to match up. So you have the Alec Jacob,
I was just gonna bring him up.
is a great example. Guy that fits great into a bullpen because of his uniqueness.
Yep.
You have Morhone, you have Peralta, you have Matsui, Jason Adam, you have Suarez, all those guys.
He's giving you all their slots.
All the
It's so
slots.
great.
I'm giving all the slots. So they all come from different, and they all create different shapes for the most part.
Yeah.
So that is also like a attribute of a good bullpen.
And then there's the knuckleball.
And then there's the knuckleball.
Is there anything you
There's nothing that I
can do with Matt Waldron?
There's nothing that like I said.
Well, it's not only him. It's you can put any catcher back there for any of those other guys. You got to find the right catcher, and it's got the knuckleball's got to be working.
Right.
Matty Waldron is it's a marvel to see when it works.
It's a beauty.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
He is so locked in this spring right now.
I love that.
And the reason is he's throwing the knuckleball in the strike zone more consistently. We've changed a little bit of what he's doing in between outings. We actually gave him his own personal catcher now.
So there's something you can do.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, I guess there is. But as far as he gets on the mound, if he's throwing a bullpen, there's another guy next to him. I go, Matty, go throw the knuckleball, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm going to work with this guy over here, and he's perfectly fine with that. He's embraced it now.
What is in his case? I read an interesting piece about him last year. He had a lot of success, and honestly, we don't make the playoffs without Matty Waldron, in my opinion. I mean, the way he kind of carried it in that stretch, and then I read, maybe he lost a little bit of confidence, or what is the reluctance to just get up there and throw the knuckleball every single time until you find it?
Yeah, I think the knuckleball is one of those pitches that, just like anything else, if it's not in the strike zone, Matty knows that he had a fastball, a sweeper, a cutter that he can throw in the strike zone.
Yeah.
So he would fall back into that pattern.
Got it.
So what we have to do is be able to help Matty get that knuckleball in the strike zone more consistently, so that he wants to throw it.
Sure.
we just need to be more competitive more often.
And I'd imagine, it takes a lot of courage. For any of them to get up there. We saw what happened with Cole Paplum, just awful, a few days ago. But
Right.
to go up there with major league hitters and now throw this ball pretty easy over the middle and trust that it's gonna,
Well, if
it's
it
gonna
floats,
move, because if it doesn't, they're gonna hit it really hard. And I'm standing 60 feet 6 inches away. That takes some courage to do that as well.
Yeah, it also takes courage to say the catcher doesn't even want to call it catch it.
Oh, that's true.
That means that the hitter probably doesn't want to see it.
Yeah.
That's so true. So true, man. Yeah, there's a look. There's a lot to love about what you guys have going this year. So you're looking at, you got your first four, assuming injury, no injury bug rears its ugly head. For the I love the competition for the fifth spot. For you as a pitching coach, how does that work? Watching these guys on a daily basis. Will you guys all get in a room at some point and say, that's the guy. That's the guy at the end, and then this is. Do you all have to agree on it, or who makes that ultimate call?
I'm not sure.
Just text me.
I'll text you. I'll text you guys. We'll do a poll.
We can do a Twitter poll.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me guess. Mike makes the ultimate call, but if you strongly recommend something, he's the kind of guy to listen to you about that.
I think we have side off conversations, and then there's. I think at the end of the day, AJ is in charge of putting this team together and the roster together, and guys fight for position, stuff like that, and he's going to ultimately help us make the final decision.
Well, and again, it's so fluid. How many starters did you guys use last year? 8 starters.
Only eight.
That's not a lot,
right?
But and we've heard that message before. It takes more than 5 to get through a season for sure. And how do you feel right now about the depth of your starting rotation, 5 and beyond?
Yeah, I really like where we're at. You're looking at Matt Waldron, you're looking at Kyle Hart, you're looking at Randy Vasquez, Burrito, Kolick is now in the mix.
Yep.
So you've got some guys that you can pick from there. We just signed Wes Benjamin as well, and so there's guys that we can definitely lean on there. And some of those guys might end up in our bullpen,
sure,
right, as long guys. So it's a nice little competition, and I'm going to enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, Ruben, I wanted to thank you again for appearing on our Christmas and holiday
extravaganza
That was awesome.
show. That was really fun to have you on that day, and now it's great to see you in person here at spring training. So thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you.
How good looking you guys are.
Thank you so much. Like I said, flattery will get you everywhere on this program.
Ruben Niebla, politician over here, Padres pitching coach.
I hope he says that about us, Sam, when we go out there, that we're better looking in person or whatever. I don't. We're a pretty rough looking crew, me and Chris. So I don't know that he'll be saying that to us. We look pretty disheveled there. Chris taking a nap on one of the picnic tables out there.
He's done that
way long time ago. Like when we first got there, because we were waiting for someone, and it took an hour and a half when they said it was going to take 10 minutes.
Wow.
And he was sick, I think. And so he laid down and he fell asleep. But that was years and years ago. That was Ben and Woods with Ruben Niebla earlier this morning. If you want to see all of what they did, you can go to 973thefansd.com, or you can go to @Ben&Woods on Twitter, because they have all of their stuff posted there as well. I don't know how much other teams talk about pitching coaches, Sam, but here in San Diego, we talk about our pitching coach quite a bit.
We do, and Ruben has earned that. Yeah, it's deserved for Ruben Niebla. Number one, he's an exceptional pitching mind, and guys constantly arrive here and rave about him. And he's done great work with a lot of these guys, and we can go through the list of examples, whether you want to talk about Seth Lugo or Michael Walker, or what he did with Blake Snell in a Cy Young year, Michael King last year, helping guys navigate transitions in their career like King did, like Lugo did. He's really, really good, and he's a great communicator with players. Every guy I talked to, including Alec Jacob today, I mentioned I talked to Alec earlier today, they rave about him. So for that reason, it's well-deserved. And also Ruben's a great guy, and you could hear it during that interview.
You totally can.
Really, really good guy. And he's fun to talk to. and great to talk to about pitching. And I feel like every time I talk to Ruben, I learn something. So pretty cool. And certainly he's a gem to have here in San Diego.
I like that he's able to do each pitcher's arm slot as he's talking about it. That's how locked in this guy is. Ruben Niebla with Ben and Woods. We're still going to hear from Luis Arraez later today, and maybe we'll fit in some other stuff from this morning at spring training with the morning show. All right, that's it for the first hour. When we get back, we have some bets that we kind of sort of made yesterday. We'll talk about those. And I think we're going to do a sports court, but I think because there's two single guys on the show today, we're going to do a dating sports court, like rules of dating type sports court. So we'll get to that when I think 320. Let's do 320. So Daily Gambit when we get back on 97.3 The Fan. Second hour of Sammy and Skraby underway on 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr. joins us when he gets back from calling the Padres and the White Sox. Padres take down the White Sox today, 3-1. Some good pitching throughout, some timely hitting throughout, and we'll get some of Tony's thoughts when he gets here. But I wanted to bring up something sad before we get into the Daily Gambit, because I got a push notification earlier today, and I was hoping when I saw the name, I was like, uh-oh. When you know those push notifications, Sam, where you see a name or something and you're like, uh-oh, what happened? Well, I got the push notification that Michelle Trachtenberg passed away. She was found in her home, I believe, passed away. She's 38 years old. And she was a lot of stuff when I was growing up, because she's right around my age. She was a Nickelodeon person, Harriet the Spy, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My favorite movie, top 5 movie she's in, Eurotrip, is an amazingly hilarious movie.
Yeah, Eurotrip is funny.
She was the twin sister in that one.
Yeah, I hadn't seen. I mean, I looked it up. I hadn't seen a ton that she was in, unfortunately. But I did see Eurotrip, and that was a very funny movie. It was. But some of what she was in, I think, was a little bit before my time. But very sad news. Absolutely.
Yeah, it always makes you think. Someone 38 years old found unresponsive in their home. It's very very sad. So. If you just heard that, Michelle Trachtenberg, that's something that really did affect me today, because it's like, man, I'm just a year older than her. Like, it puts things in perspective. I know, Sam, I'm old. All right, Daily Gambit. Let's get into that, because we made some bets last night. We didn't necessarily officially make the bets, but we'll talk about them anyway.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is a mortal lock.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Don't look now, Padres fans, but I just saw on the TV that Kyle Higashioka had a double today. So that's what we're missing out on over there in Rangers spring training.
Higgy.
Higgy. It is kind of sad, because he was a good dude. He was a very good dude. All right. New Mexico faced San Diego State last night, Sam, at Viejas Arena. San Diego State minus 2.5 on the spread. San Diego State won and covered 73-65. Now, Nick Boyd.
That's what I said.
You did say that.
They would cover and win.
You did say that. Nick Boyd was the high scorer last night. Nick Boyd has been huge for this team in the last 5 games, especially now that Magoon Guath is out for a little bit. Nick Boyd has been the high scorer in the last 5 games for the Aztecs. And this helps we talked to Mark Ziegler yesterday. They basically have to win out to make the tournament without winning the Mountain West tournament. And this is huge. This is a good win for them. All right. I didn't know if you had analysis. It's kind of weird.
Sorry.
No, it's kind of weird sometimes because we're not in the same room. So it's all good. It's all good.
Well, I was looking at the sheet here, so I got a little bit distracted. But no, really good win for San Diego State. Obviously against the first place team in the Mountain West. And, look, we talked about it with Mark Ziegler yesterday. I asked him if it was a must-win game. And, I don't know that it was must win, but a win really, really helped. They're at-large bid chances. And, if they take care of business down the stretch here, they should be in pretty good shape. So for that purpose, very, very nice win for San Diego State. Big win.
Alabama and Mississippi State yesterday. Alabama was at home. They're 8.5-point favorites, and Alabama crushed Mississippi State 111-73. Just absolutely crushed them. And I think Sam picked that one too, because I didn't write it down.
Again, roll tide roll.
Utah and Arizona. I made a mistake. It's tonight, so we're not going to be able to know the results of that. The 5-star bet from BetQL yesterday was Duke minus 22.5 at Miami. Duke and Cooper Flag crushed Miami 97-60. So the 5-star bet works out. Back in the day, we used to do this for a 5-star bet. We did this whole thing, Sam, for a long time. We would do Chris versus BetQL, and he would have his 5-star bets, and BetQL would have theirs, and we would see who wins. And Chris won the 5-star bets, I have to say. Last game, Iowa State at Oklahoma State. Iowa State 10-point favorites. This was another 5-star bet, and this 5-star bet failed because Oklahoma State took home the prize 74-68. And I believe, Sam, did you take Oklahoma State or did you take Iowa State?
I took Oklahoma State. No, I took Oklahoma State, but they oh, wait.
You won
Iowa
that bet.
State was favored.
Yeah.
Wow, I was perfect.
You were perfect. That's pretty good, Sam.
Wow.
I gotta say that
was perfect. I took Oklahoma State to cover. Yes, and they won.
And they did win. Yes.
And what was my reasoning was what?
Because you've never been to Ames, but you've been to Stillwater.
That's right.
So maybe you should go out. Arizona is a legal betting state, Sam. You could go out right now, make some bets, win a bunch of money.
I've got hot takes on betting.
Can we hear them?
And
can we hear them? You don't need to go too far in depth.
I'm debating, like, I've toyed with this in my head, but I've never verbally said it. I don't understand like why. I understand that there's some science to gambling and betting and lines and spreads and all this stuff and how to make smart bets. I understand, and you can be very well researched, but I just feel like anybody can give betting advice. Like I feel like there's now a million people. And by the way, I follow some really entertaining, good people on social media that do this stuff. I just feel like there are a million people now that are like proclaiming to be betting experts, or they're giving you, the right picks. And I just feel like I could do that, like, without really knowing a whole lot. Like I don't know. I could have taken what I just did yesterday and said, these are my picks, and given you the silliest reasons ever. And guess what? I just got them all right.
Yeah. No,
like if those had actually been bets and I actually gave advice and people took it and gambled their actual money on it, I would have won them every bet. And it was just me kind of shrugging my shoulders and going, whatever.
Chris and I always talk about this because we watch ESPN and they have the ESPN bet show and they have all their people make bets all the time. And so Chris started tracking these people to see what their bets were like.
Sure.
And their bets are not good. Like they aren't, it's not good advice. And like you said, there is some strategy. I don't really find much strategy. It's a game of chance. Anything can happen in sports. And we've seen it over and over and over again. Like I do a lot of NFL props and parlays, and I think I know what I'm doing. I think I'm a pretty well-informed NFL fan, and I always lose. There's always something that happens that doesn't go my way.
Here's how I'd put it. From a content creation entertainment standpoint, I think certainly, people can go and, and now make a living off this stuff. And that's fine. That's part of now the sports landscape. It's part of sports content, sports broadcasting, social media. Totally cool. Totally cool. I'm just saying from the actual betting advice, yes, I still sometimes have a hard time really comprehending, like, how do you know? Like, I don't know. I just...
The answer, Sam, you're asking right questions. The answer is no.
During the Daily Gambit yesterday, I got every bet right, and I was going with total nonsense.
Yeah.
So there could have been somebody out there that was super scientific. This is why you should bet this, and they could have gone 0 for 4, and I would have been 4 now.
The ESPN bet guy made in 2 weeks, he made one bet. But you know what? They never show the bets that they don't cash on. They only celebrate the ones that they do cash on. It's ridiculous. It is. And you're right. There's a lot of people out there. I get a lot of DMs from people who want to come on the show and be our betting expert. And I like you said, I don't know that I could bring someone on and have them give advice to people.
Well, I think, I don't know. I don't do this, and I don't talk about it, and I just don't do it. And, so
You're okay, Sam.
I'm kind of talking about stuff I don't,
No, you're
totally
okay. You're
know
okay.
about. But I, it's all good. I mean, it's all good. People have fun. Be safe out there. Have fun.
That's the key right there, Sam. It is you have to be responsible when you're betting. That's why I say gamble responsibly. Don't chase your losses. I mean, that's the easiest way for you to do the betting thing for entertainment purposes. Now, when you're starting to bet $10,000 on Sacred Heart Christian in like Kansas, then you're probably a little too far down the tube. But if you could bet responsibly, then you're fine. Everything will be okay. But betting is a very
by the way,
slippery slope.
I'm not saying I'll never give you advice or anything like that, or kind of tell you what I think. I'm a content guy.
He is. He's a TikTok content guy.
I'm just saying I could do it. I could do it.
You know what the hardest bet for me was over the years, Sam? I used to bet on over/under strikeouts for the Padres pitcher, and I would always be wrong. It would be like over 4.5 for you, and he would have 4 every single time. It's just there's so much gray area with betting. Anyway, please everybody be careful out there because it can get you into trouble. All right. That's it for our gambling stuff. On the other side, I have decided we're going to do some sports court. And what we're going to do is talk about some different dating things out there because Sam and I are in the dating world somewhat. I guess I'm really not. I don't know. I can't speak for Sam, but we'll make some decisions on the other side on 97.3 The Fan. Here's some traffic. It's not going. Hold on. Is it stuck again? All right, everybody. It's stuck again.
How can I fill time here?
There goes. Traffic at the end. I had to delete it.
Hey everyone, Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Make the most of your outdoor space with Moon Valley Nurseries. Locally grown trees arriving daily and
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the show. We got everything figured out, and I realized they never played traffic. And I know that people want traffic, so you know what? We're going to get traffic. I'm sorry this is so disjointed. We'll have sports court after traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
You guys, we already got a few problems starting us off. One of them is a collision involving an SUV and a car carrier. Northbound 5 near Claremont Drive appears to be in one of the middle lanes. Also going to find on the eastbound 52 at the southbound 15 connector ramp. Crash over to the right shoulder. Southbound 15 Market Street off-ramp hit and run accident. Also westbound King Freeway at the 15. New reports of a collision. Looks like this one is blocking the fast lane. Tow truck rolling up to help out with that. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
Do you have a sports issue, San Diego? Do you need a third party to make a decision? The guys have put on their robes and picked up their gavels.
All rise. Here comes the judge.
Gwynn and Chris Sports Court starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, I forgot my wig. Today I'm forgetting a lot, but it'll be okay. We'll do some sports court. Usually it's sports related items, but today it's not. It's more of dating items. So I'm going to present these things, Sam, and we're going to kind of give a verdict of how we feel. These are not written by me, but you may think that they are written by me because they all have happened to me.
So what is my role here?
You're kind of like there's going to be a question at the end, and you kind of determine for them what they should do. Type of thing. So here's how the first one goes. And I found all of these on Reddit. So I met this girl on Bumble and we had a convo through the app and then we moved it to texting. I didn't want to seem too eager, so I didn't immediately try and make plans with her. I wanted to get a base with her first. So after 4 or 5 days of intermittent texting, I asked her to go out with me. She told me I didn't show interest, so she moved on. First, that's crazy. Second, I am better off without her. That's right, bro, you are. But what I want to know is, Sam, when is the proper time frame to ask to meet up?
These have nothing to do with sports?
These don't have anything to do with sports today.
Why is it called sports court? I thought
because
so
we have sports court on Wednesday.
Right. No, look, I love this segment. I'm here for it. I love it.
Then we're going to remove sports court from it. We're just going to talk about dating.
No, I like the music. The music was good.
Okay.
Yeah, keep the music going. All right. So the question is the timing on
proper
asking
time
to
frame to
meet
ask
up.
to meet up.
Yeah. I would say you should not go more than a week of communicating via the app or via texting. I think you don't want to be pen pals. I think you don't want to talk too much. Now, it's okay to text a little bit, get to know one another a little bit, see if it's somebody you could be interested in meeting IRL, that's in real life,
Yes.
for those of you out there who don't know the lingo.
Yeah.
But I would say you don't want to talk too much because you want to save things to talk about in person. That could be a really critical error, to text too much to then get to the point where you do meet in person and you have nothing to talk about. So my opinion, what I would do, minimal texting.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Get a little info, see if they're interesting, and it doesn't hurt to, go out with somebody one time. You got plenty to talk about. I say a week max. And in a week, now it also depends the speed of the communication.
Exactly.
If these messages are fast and furious, you could go a lot faster.
Yeah.
If you're taking 24 hours to respond, could go a lot slower. But I would say a week max. Within a week, you should have that offer out, my opinion.
Well, that's I was going to say 5 to 7 days, but a week is right. I mean, people are busy these days. You got to give them a little bit of time to get to know you and see if they even want to go out with you. But it is kind of, I learned this lesson the hard way a long time ago. Like, I guess it does show people you're not interested when you don't ask them out. And it makes sense to me, but I thought we were getting to know each other still. But Sam's right. Do not waste everything in the text messaging.
I mean, look, I think I'm saying a week max. Saying a week max. So that means I'm saying it should go a lot faster than that. You don't want to be pen pals.
No,
don't be pen pals.
I've been a pen pal.
I'd rather get to know you in person. You know,
Yeah,
Get to know you in
IRL. IRL.
Save something to talk about. IRL. Good question.
Rod, the married one who's been married for like 20 years, says you have to strike while the iron is hot. 1 week is too long. 24-hour rule works. 24-hour rule sometimes is a little bit too eager, I think. Once you meet someone on Bumble, like, hey, how's it going? You want to go out? It's a little too aggressive.
Well, here we were talking about, though, an app scenario.
Yes.
Yeah, see, no offense to some of the people in the chat, but if you've been married for 20 years, that means you don't know
the app
life.
You don't know.
Okay, so this is very specific to app culture,
life is
which is very unique if you've never done it. Just is.
I love it when married people be like, man, I wish I had those apps when I was single. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You want to sit there and swipe all day for no reason? Come on. No, you don't.
It's terrible. That is funny when people say that. I mean, it's like, oh, no, you don't.
Yeah. You're in a loving marriage. Why would you ever want to wish for something else?
Well, no, but I think we would all be better off if the apps did not exist.
I agree with you. It would help us actually to meet people, and go out.
All right, next question. Let's get through some.
Yes. I was raised to always offer to pay on a date, but I think these days there are a few rules for this. How much is the max to spend on a first date? If we go to dinner, do I pay for the whole thing? Do I pay for just the food? And if she gets drinks, do I have her pay for that? I have been a guy who has been used for free dinner, but I'm not letting that bother me. I'm up first, Sam. I just want to know if I'm being out of touch for wanting to place maximums on it.
Place maximums on
how much you should spend. I think that a first date is not dinner anymore. It's not. A first date is a quick meetup at a park, at a coffee shop.
Yeah, no.
Dinner is not where you go for a first date anymore.
Yeah,
and
that's a little too much.
Yeah,
a little too much.
So for a first date, I'll buy you coffee. That's fine. But I made the mistake again of going to I took a girl to dinner, and she bought 7 drinks, and I had to pay for all.
Well, let me rephrase what I said. I didn't mean it's too much by the money part of it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what this question is about. So I should redirect there. I don't mean it's too much by the money part of it. I just think you need something that's a little quicker, a little less pressure to, see if you like the person. And, because if you're not really vibing, then you could be in a little bit of a weird scenario with a whole dinner, right?
Yes.
Then you're at the mercy of how quickly the food comes out. Then you got to wait for a table. So, but not the money part. Personally, I'm just talking for myself.
Yeah.
I'm happy to pay. Happy to pay. First date, whatever it is, coffee, drinks, dinner. You certainly can split. I don't think with a lot of this stuff, and I don't think even in this scenario, I don't think there's right and wrong. I really don't. I think every situation's a little different, but I will tell you, I'm always going to offer to pay.
Yeah.
Always going to offer to pay. Doesn't mean I'll always end up paying, depending on how that interaction goes, but I always, whether it's coffee, drinks, dinner, going to an amusement park, whatever it might be, not that I've ever gone to an amusement park on any first date, but I
agree with you. I'm not offended, or I'm not opposed to saying, hey, I'll pay for your coffee or whatever on the first day. It's not about the money, but I do not like it when I do not like it when we go to dinner or something and then they're ending up buying a bunch of drinks that I have to pay for and I'm not drinking. That's a little rude, I think. Your third martini is a little much there. And I don't want to hang out with a drunk person anyway. All right, next one. When is it okay to break up over text? There is a guy I've been dating.
Great question.
There is a guy I've been dating, and I'm not really feeling it, but I can tell you he's not going to take this well. We've been dating for about 2.5 months, and he has expressed feelings. He may think I am the one. Guess what? I am not the one. He is going to make this difficult, I can tell. Sam, can I text the breakup?
No.
2.5 months.
No. You're too deep.
Phone call?
No. 2.5 months, then I'm assuming you've been out with this person
at least 4 times.
More? Oh, 4 times.
Maybe 7 to 8.
Like at least 10 times.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that. Well, what was the beginning of that? Did it say how many are they in a relationship? Are they?
They said it says they're dating 2.5 months. and he thinks that
That's
she's
tough.
the one.
Well, that's not part of it though. That's not even.
I
a
think that's
factor
what
in this
I
specific
think that's
question.
what she
I
is
think
trying to
that-
get away from.
I think that's I man, I could answer these questions for hours. I think this scenario is totally dependent on how many dates you've went on and how much you've seen them. Because if you're telling me in 2.5 months you've went on 5-6 dates, you can text. If you're telling me that you're now like hanging out pretty consistently, like multiple times a week, I don't know what the number would be, over 10. If it's like, or if you're like already in a relationship, like, then that's got to be in person. So it depends. The time factor is not really the question here. It's the regularity factor.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I get what you're saying, because there's different time. Like, you could be either really involved after 2.5 months, or you can just be still getting into it after 2.5 months. Sounds like this guy is very
let's say
involved.
let's say you were going on a date 2.5 months. Let's say you were going on a date every 2 weeks. So you've gone on, let's say, 6 dates, 5-6 dates. I think that's text. If you're telling me that you're seeing this person multiple times a week for the last 2.5 months, no, that's got to be in person.
I agree with that.
Got to be in person.
I agree with that. It's just the right way to do things. A couple comments saying, "Sorry, I've joined a cult and I'm moving away." That's a good one. They want me to tell this story. So I lived in Cincinnati, and I was much younger, and I decided I was moving home, but I was dating a girl, and it was on my birthday at a sushi restaurant that she was taking me out to, that I told her I was moving home and we were breaking up. And then, like 2 days later, I just left and went back to San Diego. And it wasn't the
Do we have one
nicest
more?
thing.
Can we squeeze one more in?
Sure.
Do we have any more?
It wasn't the nicest thing in the world that I did that. It wasn't. All right. Last one is, what is the best line for you to open up with on dating apps?
Oh, I hate this.
I do
This
too.
is my least favorite thing.
Like, I'll be like,
"Hey, how are you? What's up?" That's if you want to know what I want to do. How are you? What's up? How's it going? But you gotta go. You gotta look on the profile. You gotta figure out something witty to say or some. Now, a lot of the time you go on the profile, you find something you can reply to. I get it. It's a better way to start the conversation. But like, if in my ideal world, just be like, let's just have a normal conversation.
Yes.
You know. But I'll admit, sometimes I'm just like, how are you?
so do you think I don't get replies because I'm like, what's cooking, good looking? I'm just kidding.
Well,
I've
don't say
never
that.
said that.
This is
Sammy needs to use the voice feature on Hinge for sure. I don't use the voice feature. Do you use the voice feature?
No, I don't set the voice. No,
You should do the
well.
And now 2023 has come to a close.
Well, oh wait. Let me tell you something so funny.
What?
So funny.
What?
Okay. I was on one of these, over the course of time here. And I'm scrolling, whatever. First video on the woman's page.
Oh no.
Is a video of her end of year recap with my voice.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
And I was like, that's wild. That's really wild. Oh.
And did she put it together?
I don't know. It must have been something she posted on social media.
Wow, that is crazy. That would have been, I would have been stunned for hours if I were you. Just like standing there like, what?
Back to the question here. Here's what I would say in all seriousness. Okay. Find something on the profile that you can respond to, that you can relate to, that you can make, a witty, an appropriate but witty joke, comment about something that shows a little comedy, little looseness, little humor, little personality. Find something you can relate to, I ski. So, if I see you're also a skier, might say, hey, what's your favorite mountain?
Hey, what's your favorite mountain there?
Hey, what's your favorite mountain?
You're the only 10 I see is the one I've been using lately.
You like baseball?
You like baseball? Because I do a lot with baseball. You're going to have to compete with baseball, basically. If you want to be in a relationship with me, everybody, you're going to have to beat out baseball. Boogie says that we need our own dating podcast. Maybe one day.
I could do this for hours.
Maybe we'll do it.
I could take you until 7 p.m. with these. I could take it till 7 p.m.
There is no Inside San Diego baseball tonight, but there will be Sammy dating advice from 7 to 9.
I could do this all day.
All right. I'm glad we did it. I was a little hesitant before, but I'm glad that we did it. All right. That's it for Sports Court. When we get back, Sean Paul, Field of 68, is going to talk bracketology with us. We had him on last year. It's that time of year. He's got a lot of good information, so we'll get some questions answered on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and
If you love Mediterranean food, you need to try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Matt Skraby, Sam Levitt here with you on 97.3 The Fan. We're about to talk to Field of 68 Sean Paul about the college basketball tournament. Tony will be joining us soon, but first we need to get a little bit of traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change. Guys, you think it was raining with all these problems. What is going on? Westbound King Freeway at the 15, collision blocking the fast lane. Looks like it's a solo spin out. Also, northbound side of the 125 Rosemont off-ramp. We have reports of a stalled car over to the right shoulder. Southbound 125 near Spring Street, stalled car in the center divide. Also traveling on northbound 5 Claremont Drive. There's a collision. Looks like that involves a car carrier and an SUV, maybe in the clearing stage, was blocking middle lanes. Traveling on eastbound 52 at the southbound 15 connector crash, the clearing stage. Hit and run crash on Market Street off-ramp, southbound 15. And on northbound 15 for Carroll Canyon, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. Looks like that is now in the center divide. Stop by into the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Spring training means obviously spring, which also means the NCAA tournament is coming up pretty soon. And bracketologists have a really, really tough job because they have to pay attention to so many different teams. We have Sean Paul of the Field of 68 here on 97.3 The Fan. Hey, Sean, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me again. I love how this is turning into a little yearly tradition we have. I think we're on year 3 or 4 of me coming on.
I believe it's year 3. Sean always is ready to go. Sam, you ask him about any college, he'll be ready to give you a breakdown on that college. But here we're gonna start with the Aztecs. We're gonna stay in San Diego and then we'll go a little bit. We'll branch out is what I'm trying to say. But the Aztecs win last night over New Mexico. They have an interesting position because they are not necessarily locked into the tournament, and the only way for them to actually be locked in right now is to win the Mountain West tournament. What do you think is going to happen with them when it comes time for Selection Sunday?
I mean, right now they would be in, but I mean, nothing's a lock, like you said. It's not the kind of position they've been in the last couple of years. And a lot of that is just because they haven't been super dominant, and they're kind of back to what they were prior to some of their runs they've made where they've had pretty good offenses and good defenses. They're just elite defensively again and pretty mediocre offensively. So that can lead to some variance, right? If you're allowing a couple bad defensive showings here and their offense just is not good enough to really make up for it. And they've had quite a few games where they've dug themselves a really deep hole against bad teams like Wyoming and San Jose State and Air Force. Those are all games San Diego State could have lost, and we would be having a much different conversation if they weren't able to come back in those games. But luckily for them, they were. So they're still on the right side of the bubble right now, probably as like a 10 seed, maybe pretty close to a 9 seed. So as long as they keep doing what they're supposed to do, they have a game at Wyoming coming up. That's always a tough one. In the Mountain West, going to Laramie is never easy at that elevation. Then they're heading to UNLV, which should be a little bit easier than it would have been. Deon Thomas Jr. hasn't played in a while. He might not play again this year. And at home against Nevada. So I think that's a 3-0 stretch for them. They have to avoid losing that Wyoming game. But even if they do, I still think they're in for right now. But there's a lot of things that could change if they lose early in the conference tournament, if other teams steal bids from other conferences. So there's a lot still in the air. But right now they're in.
We're talking to Sean Paul, Field of 68 here on 97.3 The Fan. Magoon Guath went out with what seemed to be a huge injury last Saturday night against Utah State, but we learned yesterday there were no ligaments that were damaged. It seems like it's just a hyperextended knee. What have you thought of Magoon Guath this year? We checked in with the team before the year to ask, what should we expect from Magoon Guath? And they said, expect a lot of up and down performances because he's young and he's just learning how to play college basketball, but late in the season, he was their most consistent player, so it's going to be tough for them to make it all the way without him.
Yeah, I mean, he's really come on. Early in the season, he kind of looked unplayable at a lot of points, And in that Players Era tournament, he was just clearly not ready for the big-time action. Even in that game against Gonzaga early on, he was just really bad. But again, he's super young. He redshirted last year. He hasn't had a ton of basketball experience. So the growing pains were to be expected. But given how the San Diego State team was constructed in the offseason, he didn't really have time to sit through those growing pains. It was trial by fire. So him learning next to Jared Coleman-Jones, who's a very experienced player, probably helped a little bit. But he came on and was great. I didn't know how they'd do without him yesterday, but they were able to win that game. Nick Boyd had a great game. And the San Diego State team, I mean, they still are without Reese Dixon Waters, who's a guy that was supposed to be great this year, and he's not playing this year. He's in a medically red shirt, but he was supposed to be a really big piece for him. So the fact that they've been able to maintain NCAA tournament status throughout the year without a guy who was supposed to be one of their best players is pretty impressive, and I think really speaks to Brian Dutcher's coaching ability.
Sean, let's talk a little bit more generally about the Mountain West. Obviously, San Diego State, after the win last night, sitting in fourth at 12-5 in conference, but it's been another good year for the conference. I mean, Utah State, New Mexico, Colorado State, Boise State has had a good year. What have you thought about the Mountain West as a whole, and as far as their bids potentially as a whole for the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think we're probably looking at a 3 or 4 bid league when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Utah State's going to be in. New Mexico's going to be in. Those are virtual pretty much locks at this point. I think San Diego State will ultimately be in. And then maybe Boise State gets in. They're kind of in that mix, but they have some work to do. They have a game today against Utah State. That would help them a little bit. I don't really think that Boise State team is all that good, though, so I don't think they'll ultimately get there. I think they'll play themselves out of the tournament. And you always have the chance of a bid stealer. I think Nevada could be a pretty intriguing bid stealer because they've really underperformed this year, but they do have the talent necessary to go on a run during the Mountain West tournament. But ultimately, we're probably looking at 3 bids here. The team I think who has the best chance to win a game is probably Utah State. I like the way that team plays. Jared Calhoun is a really good coach, and they've already proven that they can beat good teams this year. I think they have a chance to make a really solid run. Obviously, you can never doubt Brian Dutcher because of how good of a coach he is. That team beat Houston earlier in the year. Maybe they'll play up to the competition a little bit. That kind of feels like what this Aztecs team has been. They played up to the good teams. They played down to the bad teams. We'll see what that looks like in a tournament setting in like a 7-10 game. I think they could definitely win a first-round matchup. Second round will be kind of tough, but hey, with how the injuries have gone this year, if they're able to just win one game, I'd consider that a pretty big success.
Talking to Sean Paul, the Field 68 right now about bracketology. And we talked to Jerry Palm the other day of CBS Sports, and he was telling us, because we now have 2 teams here in town, Sean, that have great basketball programs, the UCSD Tritons, and you got the San Diego State Aztecs as well. But we asked Jerry if they would make the tournament UCSD just as is, and he said probably not because of strength of schedule. They will have to win the Big West tournament to get a spot. What are your thoughts on what UCSD has done this year, even with the, I guess, lesser strength of schedule?
You know, honestly, I'm not a bracketologist. That's not my forte necessarily.
True,
but I'm
true.
going to have to disagree there.
Okay.
I think I think UC San Diego will find their way in as long as they keep doing what they're doing. And I think if we're leaving UC San Diego out, given what they have done so far this year, they have that big win over Utah State. They have, a couple, I think they have 3 losses this year. They have a big road win over UC Irvine. I think that really begs the question, what are we actually doing here when it comes to selecting teams into the NCAA tournament? Are you really going to tell me that Oklahoma, who is 4-10 in SEC play, really belongs in the NCAA tournament over a UC San Diego team that has done nothing but take care of their business, destroy teams in their conference? They have played who is on their schedule. And a lot of teams at the high major ranks do not want to play these teams that are really good mid-major teams. They don't want to buy them. They don't want to pay them money to go play at their home court because they don't want to lose, and there's really no incentive to play them. So I really think that brings up a good question of what are we really doing when it comes time to select these tournament teams? Because if we're giving bids to teams from power conferences all day just because they're power conference teams, then I think we're falling woefully below what we should be doing, which is picking the best teams in the tournament. And UC San Diego is one of the best teams that is in that bubble region.
You know what? I wish I had you the other day when I made that argument to the guys on the show, because you made it so much better than me. That's exactly what I was saying. Like, if UCSD is good enough to get in the
It
tournament,
just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt, but it just drives me nuts how we're doing it's just, I don't understand how we can be convincing ourselves of this every single year, that there's these teams like last year, Virginia. That was the most unwatchable first 4 game I've seen in my entire life. Like, there's no reason that team should have been in the tournament to begin with. They weren't good. They clearly were not good enough to be in the tournament. You're telling me that Indiana State, I get they didn't have a ton of great wins, but they played who was on their schedule. They beat who was on their schedule. And they would have given us a lot more entertaining of a game than Virginia, who scored like 48 points, did last year.
Sean, let's go to another part of town here in San Diego. Not sure how much you followed USD this year, University of San Diego, the Toreros.
More than I probably should have.
Yeah, look, been a rough year. 15 consecutive losses. Steve Lavin's group over at USD. Quickly, your thoughts on them? Obviously, it's been a very tough year for the Toreros.
Yeah, it's not going really well over there for them, for sure. I mean, they did lose a lot to the portal. I don't think their NIL is anything to write home about. But at the end of the day, they have 5 total wins. Like, that's just not going to get it done. I don't know what the Steve Lavin situation is. Maybe they bring him back for another year. But if he comes back next year, you're gonna have to probably win like 15 games to keep your job. KJ Bradley's a really good player. Steven Jamerson, he's really progressed for them this year. But overall, they're just getting really destroyed night in and night out. It's kind of sad, because we're looking like 2018, 2019. That team was in the NIT. Like, that's a pretty solid step for that program, and they've just fallen way behind other teams in that conference.
We're talking to Sean Paul, Field of 68. Last one, Sean, for me, real quick. Who is your team? Like, who's the team that you follow the most? Who you are cheering for when they're playing?
Who do I follow the most? Really, I mean, I can't pick one team out where I'm like, I follow them the most. I mean, teams that, like, I grew up a big Arizona State fan, and I still want them to do good, obviously. That hasn't really happened, but, I would like Arizona State to be good. So I guess the answer would be them. But for teams that I actually enjoy watching, I would probably have to put High Point pretty high on that list.
No,
they're in the Big South for those who aren't super huge college basketball fans. And if you're looking for a mid-major team to really circle on your bracket, that's one of them. They have to win the Big South tournament. They'll be heavy favorites to do so, like they were last year. But the team has a lot of talent, a lot of guys who came over from the high major level. They have a legit 10-deep rotation, one of the best offenses in the country. I believe they're the only mid-major program that's ranked top 30 in Ken Palm's offensive efficiency. So that High Point team can really get after it. That's a team to watch.
High Point. I'm going to remember that for my brackets. Thanks so much, Sean. We'll try and catch up with you before the tournament and as the tournament's going along.
Absolutely. You have my number. Just let me know.
All right. Thank you, Sean Paul from Field of 68 for joining us here on 97.3 The Fan. Told you, Sam. He's got it down.
Yeah, good stuff.
He's got it down.
I thought I might stump him a little bit with the Toreros, but he was ready for it.
I mean, there is no reason.
He's ready to go.
Not to be mean, but there is no reason to be following them right now.
Well, you might be a USD alum, or
that's
fan,
true.
You want to follow the team.
Yeah, that's
Come
true.
on, Skrabe.
I know. It's just
don't be mean to the Toreros.
I'm not being mean to the Toreros. My brother and sister both graduated from USD.
Really?
Yeah.
Really beautiful campus.
Yeah.
Been over there a handful of times.
Do you know where I went to school?
By the way, you went to a couple schools, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I graduated from the University of San Francisco.
San Francisco? Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
How many schools did you go to?
I went to 3. I went to Palomar, and then I majored in partying at Colorado State for 6 months, and then I came back to California because I needed to.
Can I ask you a question? Can you hear my washing machine going behind me?
I could. It wasn't too bad.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not too bad.
I'm sorry.
I just thought
I didn't remember it being so loud.
Oh, it's fine, Sam. Don't worry about it. Tony Gwynn Jr. is going
to
join us soon. I believe that means either Sam's going to be here for one more segment or no more segments.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see on the other side. It will be a surprise to us all on 97.3 The Fan. All right, we're still just a little bit away from Tony joining the show. So Sam is sticking around with us, whether he likes it or not. We're going to talk, we're going to do a little bit of a roundup here on the sports news of the day. But first, Patty McGuire on the chat says, big fan of the show. It's my twins' B-Day today. Would be great if you can give him a shout out. His name is Mike and I'm Patty. Go Padres. So happy birthday to Mike and the other twin, I guess. So that's good. Do you have any twins in your family, Sam? Or
nope.
No. Oh, we do. We have a couple twins in our family. It skipped our family, thankfully, but I mean, twins aren't bad or anything. It just seems like a lot for a first-time parent to have to handle.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Yes, happy birthday. All right, let's start with this, Sam. There is a pitcher named Jeffrey Yan, and he is a non-roster invitee, an NRI guy, as AJ Casadell would say. And he has an interesting way of celebrating a strikeout. So here is, I'm going to put this on the stream, but Jeffrey Yan is a lefty. And what he does after he strikes someone out is basically does the splits while he's doing it. So here is what it seems like or looks like.
On set, here's his next pitch. Strike three called.
He
caught
goes
the outside
to- he
corner,
goes
and
to
like we were
his
told he was
knee.
going to do, he jumps up
He
in
does
the air
like a,
and
yeah!
does the splits nearly. And the look to second, the pitch, swing, and a miss with a pitch in the dirt. And there's the jump and the splits by Yan
So he
again
does
after
this
his second
multiple
strikeout in the
times,
inning.
Sam.
Here they go, pitch. Strike three called. It caught the outside
I
corner.
don't
and
know
now
that
the
I've ever really seen this from a major league pitcher, but I guess he's not a major league pitcher. Anyway, he says, it's not going anywhere, Sam. I am not going to change the way I play just because people think it's a little bit different, which I say, go, good for you. But at the same time, you are a non-roster invitee.
Yeah, I want to know how he did. Let me see here.
Good point.
How did he actually do?
Well, he struck out two guys, so
He had a scoreless inning, gave up a hit, walk, no run. So he did have a scoreless inning. It's entertaining.
it is.
I
But can you
guess.
imagine this after every single strikeout?
It's a little wild.
Do you think
I have to imagine that that hitters have not liked this, because that's excessive after strikeouts.
That's
now, look,
exactly what I was thinking.
I don't mind emotion in the game. I don't mind celebrating. I don't mind bat flips. I like all of it. I don't mind pitchers celebrating at all. But yeah, the hop and split and fist pump after every strikeout I would think would wear on the opposition after a little bit.
The splits look well, first off, it's not a full split. He like stops himself from going all the way down to the mound, but then he does this weird like grab the dirt and yeah. But I think hitters would have a huge issue with that, Sam. Huge issue. All right, some other stuff that's going on around sports. The NFL. I think Tony and I are going to try to get into this more in depth a little bit later, but the NFL has released one of my favorite things that they release all year long, and that would be NFLPA player grades for each team. And there are a few surprises this year, Sam. And at the bottom of the player grades, we have the Patriots at 31st in the league, like 31st worst graded team in the league. So here's the bottom five: the Steelers, the Jets, the Browns, the Patriots, and the Cardinals. And now what they're asked to like vote on is different sort of things that the franchise does, like treatment of families, the food dining area, nutritionist, locker room, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, stuff like that. And the Arizona Cardinals ownership is another one that's in there, which I think is hilarious. The Arizona Cardinals every single year have terrible grades, and it's no different this year. Their locker room grade from the players, Sam, F-.
F-. I didn't know there was such thing as F-.
That's how bad I guess their locker room is, F-. The Falcons, on the other hand, one of the highest rated teams in football, A's basically across the board. Ownership gets an A. Team travel even gets a B+. But if you go to some of these other teams, like what surprises me is the Chiefs. Last year, the Chiefs were a bottom 5 team, and This year, they're not a bottom 5 team anymore, but they're still getting to the Super Bowl every single year when their locker room gets a D-, their training room gets a C-, their training staff gets a C, and the food and dining area is fine. But anyway, I'm surprised that they're able to get to the Super Bowl each and every year when they don't have the best facilities.
Yeah, what's interesting, and I don't know that I ever realized this, is that I've always seen these report cards. I did not realize these were actually from the NFLPA.
Yeah,
like I'm on the NFLPA website right now. I mean, this is pretty remarkable that this is an NFLPA product, and they have little summaries for each team and get into each part of it. This is fascinating. Jets ownership, F.
And by the way, Tony Gwynn Jr. joins us here on 97.3 The Fan.
Sorry, is it?
Hi, everyone.
Where does it have ownership on this?
Although you have to click the arrows at the top, the red arrows. It goes all the way to the right. Kevin O'Connell got an A+ as a coach, so that's great. I love that. But anyway, Tony, hello. You love the NFLPA stuff too.
Yes, I do. It's always interesting to see how the players view their organizations, and it just goes to show you that some of these guys, they're built like they don't need all of the good stuff. As you keep mentioning the Chiefs, I mean, they keep having all this mid grade
basically
on everything, and they still go out and they perform. But it is interesting to see that a lot of the teams that are in turmoil are all getting like Fs. They're getting bad grades, a la the Jets.
Does it surprise you guys that the Patriots got an F in ownership and basically rank, well, they're second to last in the league according to this survey? That surprises me a lot.
I mean, no. I mean, they were in a good football team. They haven't been a good football team.
Yeah,
and
they had a one and done coach, which I think is pretty rare. I mean, to me, that indicates things are kind of top to bottom, probably not going all that well.
I agree.
The bittersweet thing, not even bittersweet, but the Chargers last year ranked 30th around the NFL in rating, and this year they jumped all the way up to 5th. I don't know what changed in 1 year.
The head coach changed, and they were changed. I mean, I can see that. A head coach can come in and change all of that,
But the facilities, like
a head coach can come in and convince ownership that, hey,
okay,
we really need to do this. Like, that type, especially if ownership is the one that bought into bringing the head coach in the first place, they may be willing to listen to a coach at that point.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Harbaugh does hold that power.
Huh?
He does hold that power, Jim Harbaugh.
For now, I mean, it's temporary. You don't get to keep the power. They eventually snatch it back from you when they get ready to. So,
speaking of the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, 55% of Chargers players feel their head coach is efficient with their time, which is the last in the NFL. Like, I guess Jim Harbaugh makes players feel like he wastes a bunch of their time.
I can also see that too. He seems like he would get lost on a drill and just like keep going, and I could totally see him doing that.
Just philosophizing in the middle of the drill.
Sure.
The top 5 head coaches were Atlanta's Raheem Morris, the Vikings' Kevin O'Connell, Kansas City's Andy Reid, and Chris would hate this because we all know why the Miami Dolphins love Mike McDaniels, because he's not tough on them. He's soft.
Oh, Mike McDaniels was 4th?
He was 5th. He was an A+ head coach. So, I'm sorry. Dan Quinn was A+. That rounds out the top 5. So Dan Quinn was number 1. But I'm going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb tonight because I love looking at all of this stuff. It's amazing. What would you say, Tony, is an amenity that you had in your playing career that you would need if you, like, you know what I'm saying? That was a bad way of asking that question. Never mind. I'm going to withdraw the question. I'm going to not talk about it anymore because I don't know where I was going with that.
I think let me ask a question. Maybe this is what you were getting at.
Okay,
Tony, what is something that you would have liked during your playing career, or maybe even something that they have now that you would have liked during your playing career? Anything that you missed or you feel like you missed out on?
I missed out on all the information for sure.
Oh, the
that would have
analytics.
been that would have been helpful, understanding how to use it, right? Or how picking what applied, to me in terms of what the pitcher's doing, that kind of thing. I think that kind of information would be great to have. I also think treatment and recovery is so much different now. They don't use ice in today's like that. They have when I was playing, pitchers had. I mean, they used to walk around with like these big things of ice on their shoulders and their elbows. They don't even do that no more because research says it's not necessarily aiding the recovery process. So, like, there's just so many things that I see now that I'm like fascinated about. I was the type of guy that if I was in the training room, I wanted to learn about why things were happening and so that I can prevent it and be able to take care of myself, better. And so now these guys got so much more, technology and different devices that help with recovery. I would love to be a part of all of that.
I mean, you didn't even play that long ago, so it's like it's crazy that all
That's
of
what
this
I'm
is
saying.
developed.
It doesn't seem like that. It's 10 years now. This would be
Still not that long ago.
That's still the 10th year, but still, like that stuff is. These guys, and I think they maximize it. These guys use that. They use this stuff. They help. They understand what it takes to kind of get it through a year.
Yeah.
Watch a guy like Joe Musgrove, go through a season. He's very in tune with his body and what he needs. And I think that's the stuff I paid attention to as a player. I tried to.
The Bills got an F- in travel. Last thing I'll talk about. The reason they say they don't have enough room on the plane. How can you not get these guys room on the plane?
These dudes in there cramped up. Now, we shouldn't say that. They might know that everybody else has like different sizes, and they may want to have a small one that might, to the normal person, might be like, "Oh, this is super spacious." But
it says that they were made to sit in the smaller seats during travel last year, with coaches and auxiliary staff sitting in first class.
Oh yeah, I can imagine football players having a difficult time on the regular seats.
That is true. I can't wait to go through this a little bit more because there's gems like that all over the place. All right, that is it for our guy Sam Levitt. Thank you, Sam, for joining us today. You'll see us one more day tomorrow. And
see you tomorrow.
Yes, when we get
thank you, Sam.
When we get back, we'll catch up with Tony on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855, get Ross.
Back here on 97.3 The Fan, Tony Gwynn Jr. is here. Sam Levitt has departed. I am still here as well. We will be doing a big five here at the end of the hour, and we will also be talking to Michael Flicks later in the show. He's going to join us at 5:40 to talk about these high school basketball playoff games. And then you're still going to hear from Ben and Woods. They sat down with Luis Arraez this morning from spring training, and everybody who's told me about this interview, Tony, has said that Luis Arraez was awesome during the interview.
He was funny. I was out there when he was doing the interview. Yeah, when he got up and smacked Woodsy in the chest, and it was very low energy. It wasn't the same one Macias gets, but
no,
it was a good interview though. I just listened to it.
Even though Woods was like, he was trying to, after he got slapped in the chest, he was trying to like play it off like, oh, that didn't hurt. I didn't. It looks like it hurt on the video.
It definitely stung. It may not have hurt, but it stung that initial.
Why did he do that?
He asked him to do it.
No, I mean, like, why does he do that during the game? Because Macias probably is like, stop slapping my chest every time you get on base.
Nah. It's just I don't know. Like, he was doing it in Miami. He was slapping chest there too.
Okay. Well, then that's his thing, slapping chests. We'll get back into that 5:20. But today's game, not really much to write home about. Tirso Ornelas had a good day. Alec Jacob had a good outing. We talked about him earlier. We saw some DeVries today. So what were your thoughts?
Tirso is impressive. He came in off the bench, had a laser to left. He moves well in the outfield, much better than I thought he would. He runs well. He's not like a burner, but he can pick him up and put him down for a guy his size. So he's impressive, man. He's 500 so far, 5 for 10. I think 4 extra base hits. He's looked good. Forrest Wall had himself a nice little day today. These are all guys that are in that left field competition. I know, Connor had a double today.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who's competing for that spot, for the most part, all playing pretty well, and that's kind of what you want. On the pitching side, who we have today? You mentioned Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he threw the ball really well. He didn't just throw the ball well. He looked like, I don't know. It's just he had a different confidence about him throwing the ball. It's still that same, 86, 87, but he was throwing the baseball with conviction today.
Like,
which was nice.
He has the big league look to him. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if he had the big league look, but he certainly threw the ball like he was confident. He knew what he was doing out there. That's the kind of, that's what he was kind of giving off, which I thought was awesome.
Sam actually talked to him this morning. He said he's going to post this. He's going to post their interview either tonight or tomorrow morning. But Ryan Berger had a nice day. I don't know what the role for Ryan Berger here is in spring training. I mean, can he come out of nowhere and get this 5th spot? Or
they gave him 2 starts, bro.
That's true.
They gave him 2, and he's pitched well in both. And so, I don't know where he's at, or if he probably is starting to open up some eyes a little bit. And this ain't even, we haven't even seen all of the contestants yet, so to speak, for that 5th spot.
That's true. Jason Adam had he had a nice day today. I mean,
it was nasty.
Pitching has been pretty good for the Padres so far.
The pitching has been good. I said that at the end of the game today. The pitching has been impressive, outside, especially the dudes that are competing for the big league spots. They've all thrown the ball really well, and so even Randy, he was, as Schulte said, he was playing traffic cop.
Yeah.
And he did a good job of it. So everybody's, this has been a good competition so far.
Yeah.
The other thing that stood out is that my guy Will, he's got a lot of work. Him and his staff have a lot of work. Will Venable, manager of the White Sox, he's got a lot of work.
You catch up with him today?
I didn't get a chance to. Their locker room is on the right side, and you come in, and there's not an opportunity to get down there. So, but yeah, they got a lot of work. I mean, Padres won that game. I mean, not that we're counting, but they
Yeah.
won that game because there was 4 errors on the other side.
I did see that at the end.
Two of them led directly to right. So,
but that's spring training, right, Tony? This is the time to make the errors.
It is, but it's also indicative a little bit of how they've played in the regular season going back last year. Remember, they broke a record last year. So,
not a good record. Not a good record at all. All right, that's what happened today. But Luka last night and the Lakers, Luka was inspired playing the Dallas Mavericks. So what are you thinking?
I it was a good win. Luka didn't play that. He didn't shoot the ball that well. I mean, he struggled from the field again. But that's the really nice thing about having a Luka Doncic on your team is that he can do other things. Triple-double. He still had 19 points. He dropped 12 dimes. I think he was 15 boards or something like that. I mean, that is, and he did it against the team. And it was interesting to hear him say after the game that he was glad it was over.
Yeah, I did hear that.
It wasn't as though he was like, out for blood, because he clearly seemed like he was ready to get up. Now, I do think going back to Dallas, he's going to try to, as I said, he's going to try to put on a show there.
Different story when he goes to Dallas.
Exactly, because there's a chance he could have their fans cheering for him.
That's crazy. That is insane.
If he's having one of those Luka games, it's going to be all bad for my man Nico.
How many Luka Laker jerseys do you think we'll see out there in the audience? Because
the Lakers, LA Laker fans usually travel, especially to Dallas. It's been notorious for having a gang of Laker fans in there.
Yeah, I was reading this thing earlier today from JJ Redick, and he was being asked about Anthony Davis, who obviously went in the trade to the Mavericks, and he was just saying that he really appreciates Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis is an accomplished NBA player, and he could have felt some type of way about a guy with no coaching experience coming in and trying to coach him and LeBron and the Lakers. But Anthony Davis was extremely welcoming towards him. He was very good to him, and JJ Redick wanted people to know about that.
I gotta give JJ Redick a lot of credit, not for his coaching, but I remember he used to say a lot of things when he was an analyst that used to really irritate me. But he has stayed true to a lot of the same things that he has said as an analyst on what he would do, how he would do it. You know what I'm saying? He always was critical of the kind of negativity about the league. He was always critical about how you have to approach players, and that was one of the things that used to bother me. But I respect it a lot because he seems to have carried the same kind of ideas that he had as an analyst, and he's doing as coaching, and it's pretty effective, I must say.
Yeah, they seem to be really rallying around that, and I think other teams are going to look at this and be like, "Well,
I think this particular group of Lakers respects coaches that have it together when it comes to the X's and O's of this thing. Clearly, he has the knowledge because these dudes are bought in. I don't know that I've seen a team as bought in since they won the title in 20. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
they seemingly are, whatever JJ is asking them to do, they are 100% bought into it. And I think it goes to show you that's a large part of having success as a team is everybody like actually pulling the rope in the same direction.
That job is a tough one to even take because you're coaching now LeBron James in the Lakers. Like, it's not a stress-free job in any stretch of the imagination.
If I were in if my spirit was in JJ Redick's body, I would be like, I would be waiting for the moment where I could get my lick back on Charles Barkley for saying that he was a dead man walking.
Yes, I do.
I would be thinking about it every day. And you know what? It's probably not what you should be doing, is thinking about your revenge and get back. But I know there's a piece of him that's like, oh, don't let me get to a championship.
Because
walking.
He doesn't really.
That would be a great finals. Like if you won the championship, to get the mic out.
Yeah.
That would be a great one-liner right there.
And JJ, I don't think is a guy who would shy away from dropping that one-liner whatsoever.
I don't think he would either.
If it's deserved, he'll do it.
For sure.
And it will be hilarious. All right. When we get back, we have the Big Five. Did you see this Amen Thompson thing?
Yes.
Where he pulled Giannis down by the back of the head, basically, or like he grabbed him and he pulled him down to the ground. Well, we're going to talk about that. Also, the Bears GM Ryan Poles thinks that Ben Johnson is the right guy for the job. But my question to us
I hope so. He did hire him.
Good point. Who
He
has more
better.
pressure for success this year, Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson? So those are some of the Big Five topics when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
Quitting.
4:35 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Crisello, and the Lady Aztecs with the early morning victory.
Oh, I was just about to go look and see what they did.
Yeah, they won. I think they came back. They were down, I think, as much as 15. Came back, got the victory. They earned, I believe, a bye in the tournament. So kudos to the Lady Aztecs for a terrific finish to the season so far.
Wow, you're right. They won by 3. They were down. What's 25 plus 18? 25 plus 20 is 45. 43 to 28 at halftime. There you go. That's 15 that you accounted for.
This guy is just repeating everything I just said.
And as soon as I said the 15, I was like, wait, Tony just gave me that number. But they did outscore Air Force in the fourth quarter, 23-10. So,
okay.
That's
Thank
new
you
information for
there,
you
buddy.
over there.
Good job. We have a big 5 to get to. Is traffic ready?
Yes, it is. It is.
Let's go to traffic and then get to our big 5.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Eliminite Termite, the orange oil expert. Still a few problems here, guys. Forgot to mention earlier that Caltrans got the northbound 15 connector to northbound 805 blocked at this time for some pavement repair. So, yeah, if you normally take that route, give yourself a little extra time. Also, eastbound King Freeway at Euclid, we still have this crash blocking that right lane. And northbound 5 near Main Street, collision involving a couple vehicles. Looks like that is blocking the right lane. Have termites, Eliminite Termite inspects, treats, and repairs termite damage, all with a full structural warranty. Their orange oil treatment is safe for people, pets, and the planet. No tent, no move out. Protect your home naturally. Schedule a free inspection at eliminitetermite.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big 5 starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, before we get into it, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box's new crispy boneless wings have so much more crunch than the competition. You won't be able to think about soggy nugs ever again. I think I may be taking a trip to Jack in the Box a little bit later. No, SD Fat Loss says no, I will not.
Number 5.
You literally just heard a battle in my head that I have almost every day.
That was real.
That was real. That was real. Every single day. All right, let's get into it. And we're going to start with this foul from Amen Thompson, who plays for the Houston Rockets. Now, the Rockets were playing the Bucks, and Amen Thompson took Giannis Antetokounmpo down pretty hard last night. Here is what it sounded like and what it looked like during the game.
Drop step, spin, and hard foul. I like. Oh yeah, he gets him right here.
So he grabs him near the throat and kind of pulls his face down behind him, and then slaps down as well too. Sorry, what?
We don't need your commentating. They were explaining it in real time there.
I'm a little too excited, Tony, about this. All right, so there's Amen Thompson and his foul. He was ejected from the game. They came back and they said,
I feel like you're saying his first name wrong, but I can't quite tell you what it is. But
I mean, I went to Catholic school growing up. Amen is like, that's how it's spelled.
Okay, go ahead.
Should I call him Amen?
I think that's what it is, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll call him Amen. I want to call him by the name. I don't want to just call him.
I was just doing what you would do for me if I was mispronouncing.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, to the question. Giannis actually, after the game, said, no hard feelings. He loves this. He thinks this is good for the NBA. He thinks this is going to prove to people that the NBA is not soft. But, Tony, was this ejection worthy?
In today's NBA, yeah. I mean, this is this is how they play. You know, that is not all that. I think that's probably less than what Kurt Rambis when he got clotheslined in '84, and it was just 2 shots, right? So I think it was just a different game. So was it worthy of an ejection in this game? Yes, it was worthy of an ejection. You can't. And listen, I think he would have been fine if he would have just came down hard and left it at that. But he kind of hooked my man's neck and head, and then kind of like pushed it down,
It was
threw
aggressive.
it down. So I mean that when you slow that down, it looked way worse. And so yeah, it was worthy.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And he knew he messed up. But if you watch the whole clip when he's realized when he's ejected and he's going off, you can see like in his face, like, dang, I
messed up.
I went too far. Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying, or I don't know if he actually said this after the game, but coming out of the Rockets locker room, they were saying like, hey, he was just trying to make sure Giannis didn't get up and get the basket.
He did, but then he added some extra hot sauce on it, and that's what got him ejected.
Yeah.
It wasn't the initial keeping him from scoring, but it was like the hook and like throw down, like, get out of here.
Yeah, the punch kind of it was a lot. All right.
Number 4.
The NFL Combine is creating some Big 5 news stories, and this one is going to dominate headlines until next year, I think. Bears GM Ryan Poles said that he thinks new head coach Ben Johnson is the right guy for the job. Quote, I really believe that his relationship with Caleb is going to be able to take this thing to the next level. Obviously, that's going to be a journey in itself for a young quarterback to adapt to a new system, but I'll go back to just the way Ben communicates. I think we're going to be able to really get Caleb where he needs to be and elevate this whole team, end quote. I'm up first. Who has more pressure for success this year, Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson? I think the answer is Caleb Williams for me. I said this many times. Caleb Williams impressed me last year. He was much better than I thought he was going to be, and he handled things a lot better than I thought he was going to handle them. And so I got to say the pressure's not just on him because he is the actual player, number 1 overall pick. They want to figure out if he's the guy for the future. Ben Johnson's still going to be there even if Caleb Williams has a bad year. But I do think that Caleb Williams is facing some pressure to get better this year. What do you think, Tony?
The original question was who is under more pressure, Ben Johnson or Caleb Williams? I agree. It's Caleb Williams. I think Ben Johnson just is signing a new deal this year. He ain't even coached a day yet.
Yeah.
So he's going to at least have the grace period of this year. And not that Caleb Williams won't, but he's already had a season under his belt. There is going to be expectation that he take the next step, whatever that step is. And he was under the microscope this year, pretty much every time he took the field.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think he is right now. All of the quarterbacks in the NFL do it right. They're not making headlines outside of what their play is, and so they at least get that grace. Right? They're not off the field getting into trouble. And so because they're not off the field getting into trouble, and we're just strictly talking about what they're doing on the field. And that's the way you want it to be. As you mentioned, Caleb Williams, first year in it, he handled himself very, very well, despite the scrutiny and despite, whatever else
people
is out
looking
there.
For something to be mad about.
Right. Trying to create something in some cases. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's Caleb Williams too.
I can't remember what game it was, but he was getting sacked a ton, and then he came down to the bench and he kind of like went like this, and people were just crushing him for it because they had nothing to crush him for all year. Like I thought, yeah, he impressed me, and I might even draft him in fantasy football this year. We'll see.
Oh, listen to you. I have him as a keeper if I want him.
Oh, and like a late round too, I would assume, like really late round.
I think it was might have been last round.
Number 3.
I'll never forget when you kept Jameis Winston.
Yeah, one of my better.
At the time, it was a good decision. You were getting a starting quarterback that could throw some touchdowns late, but he didn't do that for you. That's what happens in fantasy football. Another NFL topic. There's 2 more NFL topics actually. Maybe this is going to be the rumored story of the offseason, but apparently Reports from NFL media are saying the Raiders and Giants are interested in Matthew Stafford's services. My question is, in a vacuum, Tony, if you were Matthew Stafford, would you rather make $50 million on a bad team or $35 million on a team that has a chance at the postseason?
Well, I'm not Matthew. I'm not counting his pockets. But I don't know. It depends on where I'm at. You know, he won a title. I wouldn't be mad at him when he said, "Give me the 50 mil. My time is running out. I'm trying to collect as much. Go out here and maybe I can change this really bad team into a decent team before I get out of here." Or, you know, if he's hungry for another one, and he very well may be, you know, the team that take the 35 mil, which is not nothing.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
And go out and play for a team that has a bunch of tradition. I assume you're talking about the Raiders at this point.
No, the Rams.
But yeah,
the Raiders and Giants were two teams that were interested in his services.
That's what I'm saying. You're talking about so you're who did you have in mind when you were saying would you rather play for the better franchise or the worst?
I guess it would be generally, but let's do it the way you're doing it. Like, would you rather play for the Giants and Raiders and make $50 million or 35 and stay with the Rams?
They got Tom Brady over there. I'd rather play for the Raiders. And he Matt Stafford supposedly spent some time with Tom on the ranch out in Montana recently.
Is that right?
I read that. I probably read it from the same place I saw that Green Bay was the culprits behind it. I don't remember where it was, but I definitely read it.
Of course, Tom Brady has a ranch in Montana. Like,
why wouldn't he?
If you're a rich person, it's prerequisite. You got to have a ranch in Montana.
He only played football for how many years?
Like 25.
And he was getting top dollar at least 15 of them. No, 13 of them.
He might be getting paid more money to announce games than he did during
and not to
playing
mention what
games.
he's making. Yeah, not to mention what he's making right now.
Yeah, he's making a lot.
Enough money to buy. Not had enough money to buy ownership. He has bread, lots of it.
He's got bread. I think Matthew Stafford should stay with the Rams, but the Giants are an interesting little place because of Malik Neighbors, basically.
That wasn't your question, whether he should stay with the Rams.
You're right. I would rather, for me, I'd rather take the 35 mil and play for a team that has a chance at the postseason. I'm not into money, Tony. I work in this job. That's proven. What?
Well, I guess if you were actually good at, I'm picturing the Skraby that's on the mic right now. I guess if you were in that realm, you'd be a pretty good quarterback, and you'd probably be doing okay. I got you. I'm envisioning you right now. I'm like, bruh, you better go ahead and take that 50 mil because there's only gonna be 1 year you're gonna get it. So
Blue 52, Blue 52 on. That's
don't do it.
The only reason I'm not an NFL
right there, your cadence.
The only reason I'm not an NFL quarterback is because I dislocated my shoulder when I was 8 years old. That is what happened, Tony. Do not give me that face. All right, fine. I was never going to be an NFL quarterback, even if I
move
didn't.
on. This is definitely going to be a carryover.
No, it's not. It's not. We're on number 2.
Number 2.
And we're going to talk about Jim Harbaugh. He was doing the media rounds at the NFL Combine. He stopped by Pro Football Talk with Mike Florio and Chris Sims. And when they asked him about Justin Herbert, he said this.
It's like being around greatness every single day. I would follow the hell and back. I've never been around a competitor, quite like him. Some great ones, but no doubt in my mind that Justin Herbert is not only one of the great quarterbacks in the NFL today, but truly one of the great quarterbacks of all time. That's
all time.
Tell me he wouldn't get lost and end up wasting a bunch of time in practice. Just listen to that right there is proof that he would 100% end up accidentally wasting time because he was so passionate about whatever he was talking about at that point.
You're absolutely. I can see like an incompletion. I'll be like, stop the practice. It'd be like, you need to do this. But Justin is greatness. Everybody needs to talk about greatness with Justin. I could totally see that as well. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh is always a big fan of his players, but sometimes I think he goes a little too far. I'm up first. We've heard the word delusional come up in regards to LA sports teams lately. Is Jim Harbaugh delusional? Yes. He's not one of the greatest quarterbacks in history, okay? He hasn't won anything yet. I think he's a good quarterback. I think that he will win something one day, but it's not right. It hasn't happened yet, and so you can't call him one of the best quarterbacks in history before he's like won a playoff game. But that's Jim Harbaugh. He's always going to back his guy, and that's what he did here. What do you think, Tony? Is Jim Harbaugh delusional?
Yeah, they say there is some element of delusion in most of the great people that do great things. I think for players included, right? I mean, some of them have to be delusional in order to get to the level that they get to.
Yeah, you're
because
right.
Otherwise you wouldn't get there, right? Because they're doing things that 100% they have been told there's no way on the planet that this happens for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so there's got to be a little element of delusion. But I'm sorry, what was the question?
Is he delusional?
Yes, when it comes to Justin Herbert being
the greatest, one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he's absolutely delusional.
Okay,
I can't add anything to. He hasn't won. Like he hasn't. He literally has struggled when it really mattered.
This year in the playoffs, I think he threw 4 interceptions in his playoff game against the Texans.
No bueno.
No bueno. This is not a political statement, but Jim Harbaugh and President Trump have a very similar way of delivering things, just in the way that they use big words, greatness and fantastic. Oh, he's a fabulous person. Jim Harbaugh is always using these huge words.
I don't know. I don't know if I could see it. Maybe. No, I can't. I don't know.
All right. Well, here come the DMs. Here come the DMs.
Number 1.
There are some rumors out there that the Live Golf stars who may be coming to the end of their contracts may come back to the PGA Tour. Don't know that this will happen for sure, but rumors are out there saying Bryson DeChambeau wants to jump back to the PGA Tour when his Live contract is up. My question is, Tony, how does the PGA Tour reward the guys that stuck around? Because basically, Bryson DeChambeau left the PGA Tour, got paid a ton of money for playing 75% less, and he's coming back to, or supposedly coming back to the PGA Tour. How does the PGA Tour take care of the guys that stayed with them?
I think they already did. They gave him bonuses. They gave him all kinds of stuff.
Done signature tournaments.
Listen, I think the the PGA Tour should take this seriously, because this may be your way to break Live. If you just turn him away, where's else is he going to go? He's going to go back to Live.
Yeah.
Why not get one of the guys that left you to come back? That plants a seed. I don't know. I think if I'm the PGA, I'm welcoming Bryson DeChambeau back.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, listen, I would love the kumbaya of they both leagues figure it out and everybody is one. But we've got what now? This is about to be year 3?
Yeah.
Coming up?
Yeah.
Nothing done yet.
No.
So, listen, at some point, this is business. So if I can hurt your business and get you up out of here as a big business like these two are, oh yeah, I got to get you up out of there.
I think this is going to work out well for the Live players that decided to leave and take all the heat, and then they get their money, and then they get to go back.
Wait,
but I think that,
yeah, for
it's
sure.
all going to work out for them. But I do think that Live player or the PGA Tour players probably, as you said, want some sort of closure to this, and so they're just come on back. Let's get this all back together.
Either that or the two sides need to get, but that don't seem like it's happening anytime soon.
President Trump, second time I brought him up in the last 5 minutes, but he's trying to unify the Live and PGA Tour, and it's not working. Each side just isn't working well with each other, so we'll figure it out.
Let's get to the happy hour on deck here. Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
they hear the, oh, look, here comes our fearless producer, they always envision me like waddling for some reason, like a penguin towards
Waddling?
yeah, like, I don't know. I'm not a waddler, but
No, you're definitely not a waddler.
No.
I mean, you appear to have some athleticism. Appear.
you say appear like you don't believe it, but
I mean, it's quite. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it unless I saw it. So.
I was the scout team player of the year for La Costa Canyon High School in 2003. That tells you how much athleticism I had. Yeah.
Yeah, sure it does.
Hey, Tony, who said this quote? We're humans. Can we just be judged by humans? Who do you think said that? It's a very broad quote, I know, but it's baseball related.
We're humans. Can we just be judged by? Oh, Max Scherzer said that.
That is absolutely correct. Max Scherzer said that after his first start of spring trading. He does not like this whole automated balls and strike system.
He's not a fan
whatsoever.
He's definitely not a fan. Not a fan at all.
He said yesterday, because we talked about him challenging one of his pitches that was way below the zone. He said yesterday he was just kind of checking the system and he was making random, challenges just to see how it worked and everything. But he went on and on and on about this. Yeah. And he said to The Athletic, quote, I'm a little skeptical on this. I get what we're trying to do here, but I think Major League umpires are really good. So what are we actually changing here? We know there are going to be strikes that are changed to balls and balls that are changed to strikes. So we're going to basically be even. So are we actually going to improve the game? Are the umpires really that bad? I don't think so. He makes a good point there, but it also sounds like a pitcher that does not want the ABS system in baseball.
I don't know what he does or doesn't want, but I do know that there's a lot of truth to what he said. I do think that the Major League umpires are very good. I mean, they're, for the most part, all the big league guys that we've seen so far have very rarely been wrong. And that is just a cohort fan. And we're talking thirds of an inch, eighths of an inch. Yeah. Like, we're talking like small stuff. But I also think this is just Max being Max. I mean, this is kind of he is a rebel at heart. He certainly wants to challenge all systems regardless. That's just how he operates. He'll get to a place where he's moving on. I did hear he looked good in his start.
He did.
That's
what
everybody's seemingly raving about was how well he looked. But yeah, man, I mean, I expect this from Max. I'm sure if I will see him at some point. And I'm sure we'll have another conversation. This time it'll be about the ABS as opposed to the grip that we had last year when we went to Texas. So, yeah, I mean, this is par for the course for Matt.
Here's another quote from Max Scherzer on this whole thing. He said, "Wait, I thought it was the whole plate. So now we have to redefine what the strike zone is? You said it was a 3D zone. Now we got a 2D zone? Hasn't it always been a 3D zone?" He's like going down the rabbit hole of things.
This is I think he enjoys this. He enjoys this part of it for sure.
Yeah. This whole thing, he used something that I think we should talk about with football too, but it was the human element. The last thing I'm going to read from this is he said, "Can we just play baseball? We're humans. Can we just be judged by humans? Do we really need to disrupt the game? I think humans are defined by humans," which is a good thing, and human element's always going to be there, but why is it so bad to make things right?
It's not that it's bad to make things right, but we take that too far. Like, now you're looking for perfection, and I think that's his point. That it's not, this game wasn't designed for it to be. He brought it up like this. He said, without it, right, there's usually a few balls, a few strikes that I don't get, like without it, right? Mm-hmm. There'll be some balls that are strikes I get. There'll be some strikes that are balls that I get. So now he's saying what's going to happen is the strikes that are balls that I get, I no longer get. But the balls that are strikes that I no longer get, I will no longer get either. So is there really a difference in the two? I think the difference comes in big moments in the game. A bad call can be changed.
True.
By the way, which isn't a lot of times. And I think that is also his point. Like, we are searching for perfection. The balls and strikes over the course of the game are probably going to even out to be exactly what they were, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of how they help one or the other side. However, in the big moments, if a call is off, when in the ninth, could change. That's where the change. I think the big changes will happen.
No, that's totally true. I mean, that's where we always talk about the bad call. Even if the Padres lose a game, but they got hosed in the fourth inning, we're probably saying that they got hosed in the fourth inning, but we're moving past it. In the ninth inning, we're talking about that for 2 days.
You're definitely saying we got.
Be like that one time the umpire did that in the fourth inning. You guys will be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, dude. Get over it. I can't wait for some more Max Scherzer stuff because he is hilarious. The other side of the human element with football that I want to talk about, and Sam and I talked about it earlier, but at the combine, the NFL announced that they're going to do electronic measuring of first downs next year. And at face value, you're like, wow, they're going to do the microchipping. They're going to do this whole thing. Well, no. It's just the first down measurement. It's not going to determine where a ball is spotted. So the chain gang that is on the sideline is going to stay there, but they're a backup in case that the electronic measurement doesn't work. So they would run on the field then and do the whole chain gang thing. So basically, they're trying to satisfy us with half of the solution.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. Like, I mean, this is another one of these silly things. Like, the chain is only a big thing because it was helping the Kansas City Chiefs at one point. It's really the only reason why we're having this conversation. And everybody was in on this whole Kansas City, it's rigged. Clearly it wasn't, because they got their brains beat in the Super Bowl. So, this is another one of these silly, arbitrary things that really doesn't matter.
I just think it's annoying that we asked for something as a fan and they're like, yep, we're going to give you half of that, and we're actually just not going to use the old guys on the sideline.
Are you making the mistake of thinking they are doing this for the fans?
No, they're doing it for the money that's involved.
Okay, so they were never doing it for you. If that was the case, they would have done a lot of different things. They're doing it because they want to do it. That's
Good point. Dan says part of the drama of the game is having the chain gang come on the field. I do love that. What do you got?
We don't need everything to be perfect.
No, you're right. All right.
It's funny because never mind.
No, go for it.
I'm about to go down my rabbit hole.
No, go down your rabbit hole.
Nope. Let's continue on the path we're on, buddy.
All right, let's talk about the Aztecs. They won last night in not really dramatic fashion. They won in convincing fashion. They beat New Mexico. They're still alive. Nick Boyd has really picked up his play here in the last maybe 2 weeks. I was saying to Sam earlier that with Magoon Guath out, he had to be huge, and he was. He's been their leading scorer the last 5 games for the Aztecs.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I mean, he has in the last, as you said, 2 weeks, he has started to play some of his best basketball, and this was after coming off of a little bit of a kind of a rough patch form where he wasn't playing well. And so, tell you what, he picked a heck of a time to start playing well. This is the Aztecs need him desperately, especially as long as Magoon Guath is out. They're going to need his scoring. They're going to need his scoring big time.
Yeah, Pharaoh Compton had a huge dunk last night. So,
I saw it. I saw it. He went coast to coast on him and rattled the rim.
How big is he? Because he doesn't look like he's super tall.
I think he's 6'9", but he's
6'8".
His arms are long. Like when you see him, when he comes to check into the game, his arms are like they're down there, man.
He's like on the bench and he's tapping this.
His extension is crazy.
I've never seen his extension, so I'm going to have to check that out. But they have 3 more games left here, and they come against some, beatable teams. And so they have to pretty much win out to get in, or get in without winning the Mountain West tournament. But they play at Wyoming, at UNLV, and then home to Nevada. Those are their 3 final games of the year. But we're getting down to that time, Tony. I think Miles Bird played a little bit better last night too.
Yeah, Miles. What's the one kid played well? He's been struggling all year long. Hold up. You know what?
I'm not good with names.
No, I don't want you. I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, I have the team in front of me. There's actually 4 guys in double-digit scoring last night for the Aztecs.
They play well, man. I mean, they're showing they showed some guts last night. You know, not having Guaf.
Yep.
And they still found a way to win that ball game.
I'm looking at the box score.
Where's their next game at?
At Wyoming.
At Wyoming.
Yeah, and then they're at what was it? UNLV, and then home to Nevada. I like this though. Chemo Ferrari is part of the box score. He got 1 minute last night. Isn't it?
Heidi? That's who I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
He played well last night. He played had some good minutes.
Yeah, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 for 7 from the field. So Aztecs are still playing well, even though they didn't have Magoon Guaf. All right. We are going to head to break. And before we head to break, I have been negligent on doing this all day. So we're going to do it right now.
Negligent, huh?
Negligent. I've been telling myself to give these away all show, and it's happening now.
I was going to ask you about some tickets because I saw it on there, but
yeah,
you know, I wasn't trying to, you know, throw you under the bus.
No, you could throw me under the bus. Someone has to do it with Chris gone. But call 833-288-0973 right now and tell me who scored both goals for SDFC on Sunday, and you will win a pair of tickets to San Diego FC's first home game this Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. Visit sandiegofc.com/tickets to secure your seats today. So who scored both goals for SDFC on Sunday? 833-288-0973. I will pick the winner here shortly. But on the other side, Ben and Woods were in Peoria, and they sat down with Luis Arraez. We'll hear from him on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855, get
We got a winner. Jose got the answer correct. He won the tickets. Give it up for Jose, indeed. Earlier today, our morning show, Ben and Woods, out here in AZ. I was actually standing right there as they conducted the interview with Luis Arraez. Get a chance to hear it right now.
Joining us right now is the three-time Major League batting champion, the defending National League batting champion, Luis Arraez is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Luis, it is a pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining us here on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Thank you for having me here. So I'm glad to be here with San Diego Padres. And especially, it's my first year here in Arizona, you know.
Yeah.
So I enjoy so far. So it's cool weather too. So.
It's great weather. It's an honor to meet you. I mean, there's two things I want to talk to you about, and it's two of my favorite things in the world. Paris, where you just went, and hitting. My two favorite things in the world. and I know we heard your story. You know, you had the surgery in the offseason.
Yeah.
First of all, you're feeling great. You're looking great at the dish. But you said you took a vacation. Your first vacation. Now, your first vacation ever anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, especially to Paris.
Yeah.
With my wife. We celebrate his birthday there, and then finally I was relaxed there for the first time in my life.
You relaxed the first time you left. I felt that way last year. I went to Hawaii, and it was the first time I felt like I relaxed in 30 years. But how amazing was Paris?
Oh, it's amazing, especially the holiday. The only thing I don't like there is the food.
You didn't like the food?
No, I don't like the food.
I love the food there.
I try to look for
even the bread. Come on, the bread was good.
The bread is the best. With coffee, But I mean, I try to order some steak there, and I say, "Oh my gosh, I can't find it, man." I was so hungry, and then my wife ordered a couple of seafood there.
Yeah.
I say,
No.
Hey, bring me bread. So I eat bread. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got Paris out of the way. Let's talk hitting, man. I to watch you hit every day is truly an honor. It really is. It's amazing, and the work that you put in the off season. So just kind of tell us a little bit about your approach every day when you get up to the plate. Do you study the opposing pitchers a lot? Do you put in a lot of video work and things like that?
Yeah, especially when I go to bed. I watch the video from like today I hitting. I go to my house and I sit in my bed. I just start and watch my video. You know, when you watch video, you see your routine. You say, hey, you do this good. You did bad things. I don't know, but the other days I come early. I do my routine every day with Victor, with anybody there in the batting cage, and I love to do my team work. If I don't do my team work, I'm out.
Well, it's funny because I had heard from somebody in baseball that there's a couple of organizations right now, I won't name any names, that have actually pulled all of the tees out of their facilities. Big league teams have pulled the tees. They don't want their guys hitting off the tee anymore. And you're the first person I thought of because I saw how much tee work you put in. It's so important. I got two little boys that play baseball. They live on the tee. You have to be on the tee every single day. Why is it so important for you?
It's important because anybody move the tee. Because when you hit a flea from the coach, they're not a perfect. They throw everywhere, you know. So if you put the tee inside, the tee anybody move.
Right.
You just put the ball, hit the ball. You put the tee outside, anybody move. You go the other way. That's why I like the tee too. And especially you don't try to do too much when you see the tee. But when you don't use the tee, what you can do? Put the ball, hit and fly balls. You don't got any routine. I mean, I want to fade that thing. Don't use the tee.
Sure. Yeah. It's pretty amazing when I heard that story. I couldn't believe it. I thought we don't need to outsmart the game of baseball because, you know, one of the best hitters on the planet, if not the best hitter on the planet, nobody puts the bat on the ball better than you do. He uses the tee every day. Yeah. We should all be using the tee every day if you're a baseball player.
I mean, I want to fade that thing. Don't use the tee. I want to fade those guys.
Yes.
I mean, if San Diego Padres say,
no more tee?
Don't use the tee. I mean, I don't come anymore. I don't come anymore because, I mean, it's my strong part, you know.
Yeah.
Use my routine. If I don't do my routine because I'm tired, no.
Yeah.
You put excuse. I go to the cage. I just try to hit the ball to the middle, move my tee, do five swings, and that's like 15 swings. You'll be fine.
I love it.
We're talking to Luis Arraez here on 97.3 The Fan. And obviously, Luis, you were pretty dang good last year. You won a batting title, but you were dealing with that thumb injury for much of the season. How much did it impact you, and how different do you think things will be this year now that you're feeling healthy?
I mean, last year was a tough year for me, especially Miami trained me. And then I'll be honest, I was a little scared because the timing is changed here. And then I feel in bottom of the fifth inning, I feel sleepy. And then it's not at me.
It's just late.
It's late. I say, oh my gosh, I feel so tired. Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I watch the pitch. I say, oh my.
You also get sleepy in the fifth inning.
I get sleepy in the fifth inning too, bro.
The timing is changed, you know. So yeah, but I'm enjoying a lot. I'm enjoying a lot of my part here. And I mean, I'm glad to be San Diego Padres, and then especially when the team received me, they opened the door for me. I say, wow, I got a big opportunity. And I go play. That's what I need to do. And then when I break my thumb, my ligament, I say, okay, you need to be strong. I don't want to put excuse because I miss a lot of pitch middle. No, I put my mind strong and say, okay, if Imani play her, if Tatis play her, I can do that too. Why
That's
not?
Amazing. That's amazing.
I'm a team man. I'm a teamwork. So if everybody play hard, I'm going to play hard.
I would watch you hit last year, and you'd swing, and it would just be immediate like this. And it's so hard to do even with two good hands. Hitting the baseball is still so hard at this level, I would imagine. To watch you grind through it, I think a lot of the fan base really respected that about you. And I wanted to ask you, too, there's a lot of good young hitters in there as well, guys like Jackson Merrill. How much do you guys work together? Does he ask you questions about your approach to certain pitchers and how he handles ABs?
Yeah, hand, way. They try to hit the ball the other way. And I say, hey, if you hit the ball the other way, you got maybe 3 hits every day, because you stay inside to the ball. And then especially Jackson, he got a lot of power, man.
A lot of power.
I say, bro, just find a barrel. Try to hit the ball to the middle left field. If you got that power, I hit it all the way every time. I mean, I still do that.
Yeah.
But not with the power. So the only thing I say to those guys, I say, hey, don't try to do too much. Don't try to do too much. Just go there, hit the ball, and then don't push too hard.
Luis, you seem like such a positive person. There's a TV show called Ted Lasso about a soccer coach. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's just all about being positive. And I wanted to know, where do you think you got that? Growing up in Venezuela, and I don't know what the outside perception of Venezuela is like. It can be it's dangerous. It's whatever going on. Where did that positivity come from when you were growing up?
I think my mom. Mm-hmm. My mom gave me she support me a lot. And then she beat everything for me. She said, hey, let's go to the training. Let's go hit the ball. Let's go do whatever you want to do to get better. And then she's always do everything good for me. And then I wanna be better every day. If you not got energy, what you can do? You need a smile. You need to enjoy this game. This game is hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard. You need to enjoy them, So everybody throw 100% every day. They throw hard. They throw, 1 or 2, and then if you're serious, you don't enjoy this game, you'll be out.
It's such a long season. It's such a grind of a season for you guys, and different opponents, different pitchers. For you, the preparation and the routine is something that you talk about a lot. What is it like in August, in September? And you've played on some teams that weren't great, right? And you were kind of out of it, but you still carried yourself like a pro. Still went out and got your knocks every day. How hard is that to do in August and September after you're tired?
Yeah, it's hard, but it's my job, so I have to do that. I bring my little bat to my hotel room every day. I do my team work. I don't got balls in my hotel room, but I just put the tee. I just close my eyes and then boom, do my routine like somebody throw the ball to me, and then I'll be ready to the stadium.
Yeah.
And then I got a lot of chance to take a nap. So
I love it now. Are you a napper?
Yeah,
I'm a napper too. I gotta get one.
Who teach me?
Who?
Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz said you got to get a nap.
Nelson teaches everybody everything.
He does.
Yeah,
he does.
So, Luis, I don't know this, but we're friends with Skip Schumacher.
Yeah,
when he used to be here. When you were traded, he told us you were going to love him.
He said
he was so sad to lose you.
He
was
was
like you were going to love him so much. But we have a request for you. Woods actually.
Oh yeah, I have
has a request, and he wants to know if you will do the first base coach on his chest.
Okay.
Sammy, can you get the video out, because you do it hard. You've seen it every time Luis Arraez gets a base hit. See us, the first base coach gets it. You just here, get to first base. Yeah, here it comes. He's going to first base, and there you go. And
That was low energy, but
that was low energy.
So pick up the microphone and explain. When did that start? Why did you start doing that?
Macias gets like 200 of those a year, dude, right in the chest.
And I'm starting with the first base coach from Minnesota.
Yeah.
In 2022, I saw him like sleeping there. I said, okay, I need to get on base.
Get up.
And then I get 2 RBIs because I fake one green key, I think.
Yeah.
With bases loaded. I get line drive with the changeup, and then I hit him. I said, okay, I'm gonna start do this.
Yeah.
Next at bat again, and then I don't stop. And then 2023 with John Jay, he got a lot of energy, man.
He does. Yes, he does.
And then he got energy. I got energy. And he loved that. And then when I get here, Macias, you need to be ready. You need to be ready, man, because
it's coming.
Hey, I'm coming hard to you, man. And then he like it, man. I just want to bring the energy to my teammates too. So they love that.
Yeah, I remember your first game. Remember his first game as a San Diego Padre.
And then I was at the home game, the walk-off and the home game.
The walk-off and the home game was just absolutely
so fun.
Incredible.
What a night that was.
It was amazing. The energy you brought.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. Sorry.
Dude, I want it again. I want 220 of those this year, man. Every time you get one, I'm going to get one too. I'm going to bring that into my little league. I'm going to bring that into my little league. Let those kids do it.
doesn't hurt when a 6-year-old does
No,
it.
it doesn't hurt when a 6-year-old does it. But thank you so much. It's such an
Luis.
honor to meet you, man. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a great season.
Thank you.
Cheering for you as always.
right.
Luis Arraez going for a 4th straight batting title this year.
Luis is awesome. Luis is awesome.
That was
All right,
hilarious.
Before we get to break, we can announce our biggest fan today, David Gonzalez of Lemon Grove.
Oh
Give us a call
no,
back.
that's my fault. Gosh dang it! This is a Matt Skraby stupidness right here. I'm sorry, everybody.
Well,
this is a me thing. Steven Sanders of Escondido.
Yes, Steven Sanders. That's good. Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead,
Oh, I hate making these mistakes. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Steven Sanders of Escondido. Give us a call back within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for a grand prize. 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 97.3 The Fan, sd.com/biggest fan. Steven Sanders. Time starts now.
Let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Michael Flicks joins us. It's CIF finals time in the hoops. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Coming up on Thursday's program, more wonderful interviews from Ben and Woods on the back porch.
37. Back at it again. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Chris Ello with the Lady Aztecs, who had a great victory here today. Beat Air Force. I believe they sealed a bye in the first round of Mountain West action. So kudos to the Lady Aztecs. Now, Wednesdays has become traditionally about high school basketball, especially in the 5:30 slot. So Michael Flicks back with us once again. Michael, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm doing well. It sounds like we have a set matchup in the Open, and we are going to have some set matchups here tonight in D1. Let's start with the Open. We had a kind of a matchup, a cross matchup. Usually it would be like Cathedral playing Mission Bay, but Cathedral faced off against Carlsbad, I believe, in the semifinal. How did that one go?
It went like most people would expect. Carlsbad got the win. They won by, I believe, 9 points. If I got to double check that, they won by 9 points. It started off real interesting. Right off the bat, the first play of the game, PJ Jordan got a steal and a big two-hand dunk on the fast break. And it looked like Cathedral came out ready, and as most people expected, because they are well coached. But they had Cathedral had a few starters, one or two starters go cold a little bit late in the second quarter. Didn't really pick it up till like late in the fourth. So a bulk of the game, he was cold. So and Jake Hall was Jake Hall. He had 22. Jet, I always mispronounce his last name. Jet Canady, I believe is how you spell his last name. Number 1 for Carlsbad. He had a big night. He had 20 points and he was scoring from start to finish. So Carlsbad was the number 2 team in town all year, and they made it back to the Open Division Championship as everybody expected.
Wow. I mean, so they took care of their side. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you had Montgomery facing off against Mission Bay. Mm-hmm. This was again cross matchups. It felt like it would have been Cathedral, Mission Bay, and other times, but we get this matchup. How did this one fare?
Montgomery again did what everybody expected. They took home the win. I will say though, going into this game, I thought there was a very real possibility that our Open Division Championship could be Cathedral versus Mission Bay. I thought going into the game that both of the underdogs in those both of the underdogs in those matchups had good chances to win. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to do so. But Montgomery got the win. JJ Sanchez and Zaire Mendez combined for what is it, like 64 or 42 of their team, 64 points. 64. They were killing. Yeah. And I spoke on him last week, but Zaire Mendez, although he's a starter, so you can't really call him an X factor, he's a guy that, the Twins are always going to be the Twins. They're going to score. They're going to facilitate. Devin, he's going to get on the break. He's going to be strong in the mid post. Zaire, and again, he's a starter, and everybody knows how good he is. But when he's playing his best basketball, nobody can really beat Montgomery. He's that good. He's really, really good. And I wanted to give a shout out to his sister, actually. His sister is a freshman over at Francis Parker High School, and they're playing in the Open Division Championship as well. So the Mendez family will be very, very well represented in the Open Division Championship.
They're well represented. Okay, let's talk about a couple of the matchups tonight. It looks like we got a Sage Creek. They'll travel to St. Augustine for the Division I semifinal. Who did these two teams face to get to this point? And how do you think this matchup shakes out?
Sage Creek, they played San Diego High. They beat the Cavers. Yeah, they beat the Cavers. San Diego was riding high too, and Sage Creek was able to take them down. Elijah Sanchez is their 6'7" big man. He's actually going D1 for baseball. Actually had a few pro teams come out and watch him at practice, but doing very well on the hardwood as well. He's been averaging close to 30 points and 12 rebounds all season. So he's been really balling. So yeah, they were able to take down San Diego to make it to the semis. And then St. Augustine, like we spoke about before, they were, battling to try to get into that Open. Couldn't overcome that rocky start they started 3-12 and couldn't overcome that, but made to the second seed in D1. And so they'll be playing tonight at 7:00 at home against Sage Creek in the semis.
Now, how do you see this matchup shaking out?
I love Coach Brandon over at Sage Creek. That's my guy, a new good friend of mine. But I think Sage Creek. I'm sorry. I think St. Augustine is gonna. I think they go jump on them early, and I think it could get bad for Sage Creek, honestly. Jaden Bells, he's one of the arguably, you can make an argument that he is the best player in San Diego, and when he has it rolling, he is literally unstoppable. Lincoln, he's playing well. Their whole team is playing well. They've really gelled and come together at the perfect time this season. And that's not to say Sage Creek isn't also playing well, but like I said before, man, like St. Augustine, they you can make an argument they're an open division team. So I really think they really got a chance to really put it on Sage Creek tonight.
Now, you made a point to say a very interesting matchup in the other side of the semifinal. Loyola Country Day taking on Victoria Christian. First of all, Victoria Christian is a relatively new school here, I believe, right? Now, where is Victoria Christian?
Chula Vista. Victory Christian.
Okay. Christian. Okay, why do you think this matchup is so interesting?
Victory Christian, Victory Christian has 3 guys that could go for 20. Isaiah Owens, they don't really run any plays for him. And he's a guy that just gets every loose ball. He gets all the 50-50 balls. He just ends up with the ball in his hand in the right spot all the time. So just with no plays run for him at all, he could go for 20. Angel Ochoa, he could go for 20 at any moment. He's a very, very skilled point guard, has a good, nice, solid frame to him, doesn't really get rattled, has a great handle, is a great mid-range pull-up. And then Jaden as well, Jaden Gray, he's in the argument for you could make the argument that he's the best junior in town, one of the best players in town, honestly. And they're well-rounded, well-coached, and they play hard. But then on the other side, La Jolla Country Day, they've got Chris Carrillo, who is absolutely fearless. He doesn't fear any player. He doesn't fear any moment. And regardless of what's going on in the game, he's going to be playing hard. He's going to get to his spots. He's going to make shots, and he's going to find his teammates. So this one, I think, is going to be a nice matchup that's going to go down to the wire.
Now, it's weird. In San Diego, we got different divisions at different points. We just talked about the Open. They've got their championship set. Semifinal is to the games for Division 1 are tonight.
Mm-hmm.
D3, they've already got a champion. Or do they have champions to be determined here? Are we already a championship game in D3?
D3, yes, they play for the championship on Saturday night. It's going to be
okay.
It's going to be no. I'm sorry. Tonight they're playing in the semis. Southwest versus Rancho Bernardo, and then we got Maranatha Christian versus Coronado in the semis tonight at 7:00. Yeah,
we got some North County teams representing in the D3 side. Are you going to get a chance to get to any of these games? I mean, obviously the Montgomery one's a big one because that one's played at
Front Wave Arena.
Front Wave Arena.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you're going to be at that.
I'm gonna be at that for sure. I'm still figuring out. The D1, 2, and 3 championships. If I'm
those are tonight.
Well, no, the semis are tonight. The championships are Friday and Saturday for those.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so I'm still they're on Saturday, so I'm not sure. One of them I'm going to make it to. I'm not sure. I got to figure all that out, but I'll for sure be at the Open Division Championship, no question.
All right, Michael Flix joins us here. We're doing our weekly check-in on high school basketball. We have reached the CIF playoffs. We're into the semifinals. In some case, we have a championship game. All right, so listen, this is the Open. We didn't talk about the Open Championship and your thoughts on it. I mean, this is kind of the matchup from the first week we had you on that you kind of had circled. Everybody, quite frankly, had circled as the big-time matchup. How do you think this one shakes out?
I got Montgomery winning. It's going to be interesting. Man. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a real uphill battle for Carlsbad. I do.
What is it about what Montgomery does that could make it difficult for Carlsbad?
The pace that they play at. And their offense is real methodical. If they can play at their pace, which they off season,
is that a slower pace?
A slower pace.
Okay.
And Carlsbad, they can play either way, but they're at their best when they're getting up and down and scoring in transition as well. And so if Montgomery is able to, which I think they will be able to do, they're able to slow the game down and play it at their pace, which they've made every team do this year, with the exception of Olympian. I think they're gonna be able to slow the game down and play their way, and it's gonna upset the way Carlsbad plays a little bit.
That's a great point. Olympian, they got out and they ran, and not everybody has a roster that can get out and do like Olympic. Remember, they got the two guards that pretty much get that bad boy up and going.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has the roster to be able to pull that off. So it'd be interesting. Certainly big time matchup, front wave arena.
Then also, I'm sorry to cut you off, but then also on the flip side, if Carlsbad in their half court offense, if they can really spread out Montgomery and make them guard, whether it's Jake Hall, whether it's Jordan Gardner, or whether it's Jet Canady, if they can spread Montgomery out and make them guard in situations like that, then they'll have a really good shot. So it could be interesting. It could be interesting, but I do have Montgomery winning this one, and I honestly potentially by double digits.
So this would who won it last year? Carlsbad won it last year. So this is the Montgomery getting their lick back.
And like this is going to be their third year making it to the Open Division Championship. This is going to be their year to finally win it. So they're hungry.
Wow.
They're hungry.
A little baby dynasty going on
For
there
sure.
at Montgomery. Mm-hmm. Michael, as always, appreciate you coming on, spending some time. We'll have to check in at least one more time.
Absolutely.
You give us the final results of these games. What you guys, Craig?
I got a question from the chat from Rod. Can you please ask the time and location for the Montgomery game?
Montgomery plays Carlsbad on Saturday at 8:00 at the new Front Wave Arena in Oceanside.
There we go. I just didn't want to relay it wrong. So
no problem.
Rod's gonna go show up at like Viejas Arena.
And I wanted to give a shout out to CIF too, because I'm someone I come from back when all the CIF championship games were played on one day at Jenny Craig or at San Diego State. Yeah. And I really missed that. And I've been complaining about like, come on, we need a big arena, like do it somewhere dope again. And last year they did it at UCSD, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, UCSD. And that was great. And so I just wanted to give them a shout out that they're doing it at the Open Division is at the new arena, Front Wave Arena in Oceanside. I do wish every game could be played there and we could have that old feel back again. But the fact that we have one game in the brand new arena where the G League plays at, I think is really awesome and a dope opportunity for the kids. So shout out to CIF for doing that, man.
Yes. Good work, CIF. Keep it up.
You guys have both been to Front Wave. Tony, you've been there, right?
It's sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard, honestly, having been here my whole life, it's hard to imagine an arena that looks that nice like here, but it's right there in Oceanside. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And what blew me away is I live in North County and I didn't realize that it was even being built.
Yeah.
The first time I went,
I didn't.
And
either.
I go to the Felix's that's right across the street from where it's built at. I mean, I haven't been for a while, but I be in that area. So I'm like, how did I not know that this beautiful arena was being built?
That I said the same thing. I'm literally across the street at those soccer fields damn near every other month. And I knew they were building something. I had no idea it was an arena.
It a great secret. I know those kids walking into that arena and just coming down the steps and looking around there. That's going to be an amazing thing. I got to play a Pop Warner football game at Qualcomm back in the day. And I remember walking in there and was like, oh my gosh. So I know those kids walking in there and seeing that arena and like, I get to play on this floor. That's going to be a really, really cool experience for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll check in again next week. Michael, tell them where the people where they can find you.
Michael Flix on Instagram, MICHAEL.FLIX, and then Flix Media Network on YouTube. Appreciate y'all, man.
We'll check in with you next week. Michael Flix always does a terrific job. Let's check some traffic before we got to get out of here.
From the 855 get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Crystal Geyser, Alpine Spring. Just a couple things to mention here. Crash still in clearing stage, eastbound King Freeway before 47th Street. Trying to move that over the right shoulder. And crash on southbound 5 before Claremont Drive. That's over to the right shoulder. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Some of you guys might have saw me randomly throw my hands
up
in the air.
I did.
I'm also watching. My two daughters are playing in the semifinals CIF soccer playoff right now, and they scored to tie it, and then they scored again to take the lead right before half. So that's what these random arms. In the
That's
air
good. I was like,
we're going up.
Does he have a bet? Is there something going? The Lakers aren't playing right now. What is he doing? Is he really excited about this high school basketball talk?
I am excited about it, but I unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. But yeah, you guys should get out and check these teams out. They get a chance to, especially that Montgomery Carlsbad game. This is a back-to-back years, those two teams matching up against one another. So should be a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, who's the I forget his last name now, and I don't. Jaden Bales, is that it? Yeah. I think we've heard that his name every single week this basketball season.
Him and the twins at Montgomery. We heard those three were pretty much the ones we heard every week. We got a chance to talk to Michael, and I just think it's cool that he provides him, and really quite frankly, there's a few of good folks out there that provide platforms for the young men out there playing high school basketball.
Totally.
It's pretty cool.
Real quick.
You got to.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, have you heard of Jeffrey Yan? He's a Rockies pitcher. You shouldn't have heard of him.
The dude who did the splits yesterday?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
what do you think about that? Because he said he's not going to stop.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, don't let him punch you. If you let him punch you, you're going to see it.
I guess that's always the answer, right?
But you know what? Don't get mad, though, if dudes take exception, and if they get you, if they tag you, don't be mad if they cartwheel or, backflip or whatever it is they decide to do. If they decide to do the splits all the way around, you can't say nothing.
He didn't even really do the splits. It's like half splits.
He did. Like, it was, I don't know what that was.
If you're going to do the splits, do the splits.
To each his own. That's him, doing his thing. But just as long as you're not mad when it's done to you, I don't have a problem with it.
Good point. Good point.
Skraby Chronicles follows. Skraby, what you got today?
Oh, I'm going to go deep into this NFLPA stuff because it's great. I mean, I can't believe that the Eagles won the Super Bowl and dropped 18 spots in their little report card. It's crazy to me. So,
Skraby Chronicles up next. You guys have a good night.